OnePlus 8T. This has the 120 hertz, so it is wicked smooth.
15 minutes will get you charged up for a whole day.
And this has a quad camera too. We got a 48, a 16, a 5, and a 2 megapixel.
Well, hello, gamers and esports lovers. Welcome to day number 3 of the PMCO North America Spring Split Finals with myself, Imperium, and the wonderful Zute to my right, as far as I know. Yeah, we're here to bring you all of the juicy action as we are officially halfway through. We're coming into our 3rd day, and with 8 more games to go, time is running out.
Oh, time is definitely running out. Day 3, 4 games, and then you're in onto the last day, which is the make it or break it, the choke days, the show up days. It's all coming up.
It really is. So to get the housekeeping out of the way, let's have a look at the point standing coming into, of course, the PMCO. We all know, we all love it. It's pretty fair. It's pretty balanced. You start with 15 points for that lovely chicken dinner, moves into 12, 10, then it whittles it down with that 1 point per kill. Now, I do want to quickly highlight, because we'll touch upon it later, that we think, and more so you than me, you know, based on your theory, that the placement points might actually make a bigger difference coming into the final day than maybe usual, but we'll talk about that later on. Let's have a look at the schedule for today's games, right, Zute? We start with Miramar, then Sanhok, then Miramar, and ending it with Erangel.
Yeah, the map order always the same. The action is also always the same, which is good because the action in day 1 and day 2 have been insane. And I think for the PMCO NA in general, I don't know if it's because it's my first time casting, but I feel like the action has been exciting from beginning to end, like every single day.
It has. I've been lucky to cast quite a lot of Pubg mobile tournaments, and I can genuinely safely say that this PMCO North America split has been extremely juicy and very action-packed. I know as a player you tend not to think about or be observant or even be aware because you're so focused on your own game, but yeah, you are dead right. It is definitely I don't know if it's just because it's a step above what we've seen previous in the region, or if it's just a mix of everything, but it's been very, very fast-paced and very frantic.
Yeah, definitely. I would even venture to say maybe the skill level of NA has not so much, I'm going to say, reached new heights, but maybe a lot of people have caught up, right? And they're all kind of hovering around the same entry point for skill level now, which is why we've seen such competitive games for PMCO.
So true. So true. Let's have a look at how these teams stand. Let's move on over to the leaderboard and see what we're working with, what teams are currently in a good spot, what teams are kind of struggling. It's fair to say that EFC have already booked their place in the PMPL North America, right? So they 124 points, 3 chicken dinners, and being a could have but the rest.
Yeah, I haven't really actually given this much thought, but now that you mentioned that EFC has pretty much secured their spot, I can almost even just throwing it out there might be completely wrong, but if they were to get 0 points for today and tomorrow, 124 could be enough to make top 8 already, right? I'm looking at a quick glance at the scores, and I feel like that, you know, that might actually even cut it for them.
Yeah, because even though, you know, we believe that every team down to Warning 6 has a possibility of entering the top 8, it would require every single team to get more points than pretty much Enigma Fan Club, which I just don't think is mathematically possible in the 8 games we have. So yeah, in my eyes, Enigma Fan Club, they've already secured their spot. But one team who has really been a stepping up to the plate as well has been Mezexis, right? They got 60 points in yesterday's 3 games. That was a massive day for them.
Definitely massive. One thing I want to highlight before we head into the games, though, is how competitive this lobby is. From 5th place down to 12th place, the point difference is 12 points. So from 5th all the way down to 12 is a 12-point difference. So that's like so many teams that are just like minuscule points away from one another. And I think it's going to stay around that range for the rest of the tournament. I think that's how competitive this last 2 days is going to be.
Yeah, it is. And with teams like, Enigma Fan Club, I would even now say kind of HQA, maybe even a little bit of PassionFruit. Suppose maybe being a bit more aggressive, grabbing a few more of those kill points, and I would say like creating that gap. It does make, as we've kind of discussed about, those placement points maybe a little bit more important coming into these final 2 days. And we're going to be getting in to this game on. Erangel is on the table for this game on the Greeny Pastures. And let's see what we're working with. It seems like we're going straight as a die from the east right over to the west.
Yeah, more of a southern plane path. It doesn't seem like it's very angled to the north whatsoever. Yeah, it's pretty straight shot. On the south side, this plane path we've seen a few times already in PMCO. So even though it's not the best plane path, I think teams should be well adjusted enough to not have any issues. The only thing that might happen is the 2 teams going for Yaz, right? We have Punjab and Mezexis stretching for Yaz, and I believe the cars are going to look to go for. It's going to be kind of close to the same area that both teams are going to be dropping. But besides Yaz, I feel like every other team will have their own designated drop area for vehicles to make it to wherever their loot location is. Oh, and Punjab
have dropped down in
Novo.
Yep.
Yeah, so
Novo,
they've made an adjustment. That's great to see. We've seen nobody drop Novo, really. We saw Pro Era dropping military base the other day, but it seems like their preferred position is still going to be, I was going to say
Rozhok. Yep.
Yeah, I'm not seeing them on the map, though. Oh, no, they're going back to military base. And, speaking about military base, this is actually a 50-50 circle, if you ask me, if it's going to be military base or the main island. And the best part is, after the first circle shift, it could still be a 50-50, and nobody might even really get a good idea until like the 3rd or even 4th circle on where it's actually going to go to. We have not seen a military base zone like this, a potential one, so to say, from the finals yet. So this is going to make for some different action. We might see some teams trying some things that we haven't seen before, as EFC making their car rotation, picking up some teammates. I do believe they're just going to head back to Severny, potentially.
They will probably go to Severny. Reason why is because that will put them in a prime position to play that edge of circle game that they all love doing right there. It's where they're comfortable, looking to catch a couple of people out on rotations. They won't worry about where this phase 1 circle is, to be honest. And if anything, they'll be happier with the fact that it is a South Military Island circle. With the phase 1 being so heavily on the island, one thing that I'm looking out for, let me think. Can you guess what I'm going to be looking out for, Zute?
Oh, bridge camps. It's got to be bridge camps, right?
No!
Rotations?
Thank you. There you go. I'm a bit disappointed. I'm a little bit disappointed you didn't think of that. I thought we had something, Zute. So I thought you knew me. I thought you knew me.
My brain, you know me, Imperium. My brain's all about the violence. And bridge camp violence is the best. Rotations, as scenic as a nice drive as it is, it's just, boat on water. But speaking about violence, we already see 2 teams engage. Punjab Oscar, he's holding this down as a split player, but we support farmers. Look at this, already making their rotation fast across the military bridge, and it's because it's the zone. We haven't seen the zone in the PMC. Oh,
lovely.
He's hot. and not in a good way. And he's also getting pushed right now. It's looking very tough. And he runs back into the fire.
Oh, no.
Oh, what a beautiful Molotov, though. Perfectly placed. It literally trapped him with nowhere to...
Yeah, and we support farmers really kind of going for that quick rotation. They normally drop around the farm area anyway, so it low-key makes sense, right? There's a potential fear that there could have been the whole of Punjab there, but give or take, you tend not to see more than 2 players in that area, right? So kind of going as a full squad across that Eastern Bridge early made complete sense.
Yeah, and look at how fast Pro Era has set up to do the bridge camp. Pro Era was looting military base. Joey's already got a kill. They've already bridge camped someone.
It was onto LeveLx.
Yeah, and so Joey, noticed he doesn't even have any first aids yet. So I think they realized these teams in PMCO, like, you think PMCO, you know, lower skill, maybe they don't rotate as fast. No, even in the PMCO final stage right now, we see teams rotating to the military island extremely fast. And it's a botation out of warning already. Yeah, these teams are not messing around when it comes to a potential military ending. This is so many rotations so fast out of so many teams.
Like, I'm saying wow in a good way. I really love this. I really love this because I've often said it across multiple tournaments, multiple regions. Teams do not rotate into military island on a near guaranteed military island circle quickly enough, but we support farmers. We've seen Warning 6. You know, Punjab United, okay, the playing path dictated that. But we even saw LeveLx attempt to send a player across the Western Bridge. I want to see more of that. I really commend those teams because in my eyes, it's just them putting their destiny a little bit more in their control. They're not having to kind of wait for other teams to mess up. They're not having to wait for the circle to hopefully stay in their direction. It is, you know, grabbing the bull by the horn, so to speak.
Yeah, but it does go both ways, right? If you're a team that's, you know, very skilled and have a really solid game plan on how to take Military Island late, which is what I believe we'll be seeing out of EFC, right? One of the top dominant teams. That's also one of the, you know, viable strategies. Of course, it's harder to do.
Yes.
There's more variables in play, so to say, and you really got to play it correctly. But, Punjab was not ready for another team to already be on Novo. Like, they just finished looting Novo, and a team has already rotated into Novo. That's how fast these rotations are right now.
Yeah, because Punjab lost a player outside of Nova, they had their team generally on the kind of outskirts looting up and finishing up, being prepared to rotate. And Warning 6 correctly went on essentially kind of the other side of Nova. So on a boat, they were less likely to be heard, less likely to be spotted, capitalize off on that. And we support farmers might continue to put their heart onto the side of Punjab United. What is good for Punjab is that Sugar Daddy came through and just whipped out those Sugar Daddy bullet shots and knocked down Cash.
Yeah, with a Scar hollow sight at that distance.
Oh, yeah.
Quite an amazing shot. That's going to get them to not just be able to do a reset, but Punjab, they're actually looking to kind of set up more of a defense instead of disengaging. We support farmers, though. They hear the shots. They already killed one of Punjab.
Exactly.
So they have a decent idea of what's going on, and they're setting up for a nice third-party potential here. I do see 3 players of We Support Farmers, which is good. Hopefully one of them is holding their flank and watching out for other teams rotating across the bridge.
Singh is going relatively aggressive onto the very edge of Nova, but it's not a position where, in my eyes, he's really going to get caught out in. Shamshir, you can instantly tell, heard those shots from Ivorian, so I was going, oh, there's a team behind us as well. But Singh comes in on towards the window of that building, gets a knockdown onto Cash's second knockdown for Cash, I might add, so that's going to see him bleed out a little bit quicker as you get through the game, the more times he gets knocked. And that's just We Support Farmers continuing to put pressure on both of these teams. It maybe account for Rhoda's being on the outskirts, and because he want them have to push back, and Ivorian hopefully will be able to get away from that.
We're about to get the next circle shift. This one, once again, it might still be a 50-50 after this shift. Even we might not even know if it's going to be Military Island or if it's going to shift hard north. I have a decent feeling, though, it's definitely more favoring the Military Circle. But we'll see in just a few seconds here. Crossing my fingers, something crazy happens. Okay, nothing too crazy happens. It is going to be a military base ending. And Pro Era camping the bridge. That's going to have a lot of congestion, to say the least. And these other teams still making their way in. We see EFC, we see SegmentX. SegmentX all the way out in the blue on the left side. They're going to be coming into that bridge that's still in zone, meaning a lot of teams are going to be able to set up around there to survive another circle. This could be a really bad thing for SegmentX because they're going to run into a lot of teams that have not needed to cross the bridge yet.
One team I want to highlight as they start to make their way through on a rotation, no doubt, and no less, is M19, because they're currently in 8th place in the overall standings. But one thing that worries me about them is that they have only gotten 7 points out of the 4 Erangel games, and considering that's a majority of the games, you know, and that map is played the majority of the time, they really need to step it up in Erangel if they are going to qualify for the PMPL.
Yeah, let me say the point you just made, because I don't think viewers realize how big of a stat line that is that you just shared. 7 points in 4 games on Erangel. And Ralphino just got blown up in the kill feed, as you mentioned, M19 not having a good day or games on Erangel. I think it's a blessing in disguise, though, right? Erangel should be your team's most comfortable map just because of how often it's played, how easy it is to rotate, how good of a map it is in general strategically. And so because they're sitting in 8th place with only 7 points and 4 games on Erangel, that means there's a huge room for improvement. And that means sitting in 8th place with such a huge room for improvement on Erangel, it should be a blessing in disguise for them. Unless that downward spiral continues, and we saw it earlier in the kill feed. Ralphino already, not with us on this Erangel map after getting blown up.
I just worry about them if they're going to be able to sustain the position if those results don't improve on Erangel. We'll, of course, wait and see. 2 teams on the Ferry Pier train, Syndicate and Team Ace. Again, 2 teams who are somewhat in the middle of the pack here in the overall standings. You have the side of Syndicate. They're in 9th. And our team Team Ace are in 11th. So both teams do need to, of course, continue to have strong, consistent results if they're going to, just essentially keep them in the running to get that top 8 spot.
Yeah, and we see HQA here camping in the blue. They're actually camping here specifically to take the bridge as late as possible and catch out rotations. This is what HQA is known for, actually. When I used to play scrims against them in the North American server, when we would try to take that eastern bridge, if HQA was in the lobby, they would always be camping it up until like circle 4, because you can actually full boost and just bandage in the blue up to like circle 4, even like circle 5. So that's what HQA is doing. They're going to sit in the blue and they're going to just be chilling. And the circle shifts once again, and we're going to get a military base ending. And when I say military base, I mean the base itself, not just the ending. The base itself is right now looking like 70% of the circle. This is going to be a fun one. We haven't seen one here yet on PMCO inside the military base itself. So I'm really excited to see what plays out now.
Oh man, drop the base in D. That circle shift is also healthy for the teams who are in the mainland, especially HQA and PassionFruit and Eastern side, because it will give them a little bit more space to enter in the bridge across the circle, because all the teams who are on the edge of the bridge, like Punjab United and Mezexis, as you see fighting right now, will move away. But if they don't close out the fight quickly enough, there might be a bit of a third party, as Punjab United are down to 1. It's just Sugar that he left for his side, and Mezexis. They have 4 players strong. They're off the back of what was an absolutely tremendous day yesterday. They even ended it with a beautiful chicken dinner. Came down to 1v1v1, which Bishop clutched out So they are definitely feeling confident coming into today's games.
Yeah, and I love that 3-1 split Mezexis was utilizing. We're seeing so many more 3-1 splits now. One thing I want to note on the 3-1 split, you have the 3 people to do the hard work, right? The engagement,
Yes.
you know, right in their face. You need the manpower for the trades because at that point, it's all like hip fire. And the more people you have hip firing, the better chances you have. And the one off-angle player, you really only need one. You don't need 2. If you have one strong off-angle player, they can readjust themselves to kind of be that second player, right? Because they're free to move around. As long as they know what they're doing, they could go anywhere on the off angle if they're a smart player. So that 3-1 split, I love seeing that. It's great for engagements. And we also saw it earlier out of some other engagements on the military base island in the earlier stages of the zone.
Oh no more. Okay, if you 1, HQA already started moving. 2, no mercy is on the other side of the wall, which HQA no way would have spotted that vehicle rolling over. HQA still threading with caution on that push across the bridge, and what I like is that they're sticking one by one. That pack mentality in those vehicles means that if they do come across Mezexis, there's a less chance that, you know, multiple players are going to go out because there will be less focus on one specific vehicle.
Yeah, Mezexis rotating in just now. HQA, they are going to be able to get to the edge of the zone as it looks like Mezexis is looking for a deeper rotation. This will work out for them. PassionFruit, though, following behind the footsteps or the car path of HQA, and I see PassionFruit. Oh, he was actually the last player to make it across. PassionFruit's chilling on the north edge of the circle right now, and we're going to see that zone shift. It's going to be that military base, and it is indeed. We have the giant sprawling hills, though, on the south side, and there's that fence line right in the middle. So many players can end up driving a car up to that fence line and just snaking it out there because that small wall, just going prone next to it, will keep you alive.
And you've got the airplanes, you know, in play as well, which can be an effective position to hold on to, but not without its risk. We'll have to wait and see who opts to go where, as multiple teams are rotating near each other. You have Dior and Syndicate, both not in the circle, but they're somewhat ignoring each other as they look to try and find that golden position inside this phase 4. You also have decided teammates who are taking relative blue zone damage, to be fair. And Peaceful, you're out in the open. Dior? Oh,
I mean, they're
no
running
way,
down
Peaceful.
on foot. They're running down on foot. There's no way Dior is going to like think, hey, there's a team right behind us, because they're like ninjas right now. And it's the timing at all, and not just that, Ace secures vehicles for themselves now. So what? Wow, that works out perfectly for them. Dior
I don't
down
know.
to a solo.
No, I would still say that's Dior's lackadaisicalness. That's her. What do you expect? It's a military island circle. You should know that there's most likely going to be teams around you. Have a look out the windows. You could easily have stepped up towards those higher levels of that building and had to look out. I'm sorry, I hate to be harsh, but at this level, you cannot get away with that. You cannot expect to get away with that. PassionFruit lose J. That's going to put PassionFruit down to 3 players, as EFC are already inside the circle. To be fair, as much as EFC are an edge of circle team, even though they are in the northern edge of the circle, they're still pretty nicely inside the military island, quicker than I expect them to be.
Yeah, we don't really get to see how they went across, but they went across with no problem. They have vehicles. It is going to be able to be utilized once the blue is touching their back, so their exit strategy, it's looking a little bit trickier for them, right? Because they can't really rotate back into the blue at this point in the game. So they kind of just have to fight their way through Era, but depending on how the circle shifts, Era might just leave and go into the next zone, and that gives an opening for EFC to continue on.
Dior went out, by the way. Dior was blowing up, I think, in his vehicle, and SegmentX are under a bit of pressure at the hands of Mezexis up on top of the hills. King A is going to be confirmed. I think Prophecy is being confirmed as well. So Mezexis is doing a great job of holding a controlling position on the northeastern edge of the circle. Versa, you weren't meant to hit that wall. You got to be able to go through the gap. I know it's tough, but man, come on. The vehicle can fit in there. You lose your life because of it.
Yeah, you gotta thread that needle. That's the other thing with this military base ending. There's so many of those gaps along the walls that I see players time and time again just not thread. They hit that wall and then it's instant
Feels
momentum
bad,
stop and they're just done for. And we're going into the next circle shift. Look at the spread of all the teams evenly just dotted across the whole entire map. It's actually quite impressive. And that circle shift, we support farmers with the 2-2 and the only 2 bunkers left in play. That's actually an amazing crossfire that they could set up, right? They just hunker down on the insides, and any teams pushing them into the inside, they can shoot at.
Are they stuck there, or should they join up as a 4-4? 4-4, I mean as a 4-man team.
The thing is, if they join together as a 4-man team underneath, right, they're still going to be stuck once a team goes over the top of them. So I would rather they keep a 2-2, maximize, you know, their kill efficiency, their control. Like right here, perfect.
Yeah.
That's what they needed.
Fair.
And then the other bunker, same thing. The other two, the other bunker could do the same thing. They'll get more kill points. Because getting stuck together as a 4-man team is useless if you're trapped. It doesn't matter if you're 4, if you're 3. If you're trapped, you're trapped. So might as well keep it split, in my opinion.
Fair. Yeah, no, that's a really good point. I was curious to hear about that. HQA have had 2 players knocked down at the hands of Syndicate. Mezexis stole one of those kills away, by the way, from We Support Farmers. So Mezexis being the opposite of Robin Hood in this Erangel game. Let's see if the merry men in this game 1 of day will come on through to get those just rewarded kills to help get that chicken dinner. JCR down on the south side. They do have the Panthers in front of them, gatekeeping them for now. But this is the south side hills that is definitely quite illustrious as you come into phase 6.
Yeah, phase 6 about to pop up, and I think the team that has the best position is honestly Mezexis on the northeast. Their back is going to be perfectly clear. This position's also good, but there's so much space that, you know, there's 3 teams fighting. They won't have full control, but Mezexis will have full control.
Oh my god, there's just bodies in the kill feed left, right, and center. There's knocks, there's kills, and we come on to JCR. Gone in between the Panthers and Syndicate. So it's not going to be easy for JCR to deal with this pressure. Look is being knocked down. The rest of Syndicate are pushing on in to try and keep the strain, keep the pressure on this side of JCR. Plus they need to find a position as a full squad inside this phase 5. Top on the hills, so it's the high ground which can get punished by a couple of teams down in towards the island. So they don't want to overextend a bit too much. That's going to leave JCR under a little bit of pressure. Nice by Issue to use those smokes to give him that little bit of space, to give him that little bit of protection while he looks for the shots on the JCR.
Yeah, Syndicate taking advantage of the issue JCR is put in right now. They're stuck between 2 teams, so Syndicate popping their heads over, being a little more greedy. I love those peaks, and we get to the next zone shift, and it does go right on top of We Support Farmers and HQA. Now that 2-2 split, those 2 can group up, and the 2 in the bunker can try and cover. Mezexis is on the top of them, though, as a 4-man team, and Mezexis is looking very strong in this late game.
Oh, that was a lovely grenade. Just missed the mark a little bit. Once again, JCR continue to be under pressure. This time from Warning 6. Like I said, kind of third partying on the hills, and that is JCR out of here. We're left with Syndicate and the Panthers up on top of the hill, but Asen looking down towards the side of the wall that is held onto by HQA. You talked about the side of the walls, the prone down play, and indeed it's going to allow them to surprise and get that mother truck and knock it down onto Rad Syndicate.
Yeah, the push by Rad could have been better if he just actually went straight on. Because if he goes straight on and keeps that line of sight with his teammates, there's a higher chance his teammates can see who's shooting him. But you saw he curved in from the right side, giving Duranzi a nice little angle into him without Syndicate being able to support.
Oh, no.
And here comes the crash. Mezexis actually drove up to the compound, and they're grouped up together now as a 4-man team.
Yeah, Warning 6 grouped up inside that one bunker, and I still think that was a bad call, because like you mentioned, if you're pinched in that bunker, you're pinching that bunker as a 1-man, 2-man, 3-man, and 4-man team, and all it's going to take is for Mezexis to chunk out 3 to 4 grenades, and that is going to be the end of We Support Farmers. They need to create some form of spread. Mezexis, HQA, and We Support Farmers all inside the center of this phase 6. and that's going to be the Panthers taken out from this game. And here's the thing, warning 6. They're outside. Oh no, just as I say this, they are out of here. We're down to our final 3 teams in phase 6.
Yeah, and all 3 teams as a 4-man team. We're going to see this fight with Mezexis and HK first. We support farmers. Just hold down in there, watch the kill feed, time your third party accurately. Time it correctly, and they should win this game.
But Mezexis are not directly in trouble, but they can only fight HQA as a 3-man team because Alucard needs to stop We Support Farmers from moving out of that bunker. Even 2 of them as Bishop chucks up a grenade, but Solitude finds AZ. That's a beautiful knockdown. And Solitude is going to get returned up though, unfortunately, so Chi Wong is going to be able to pull in to hope to give the chance on the HQA. Another grenade is going to be fired on through. Russell feels the pain of that one as it's going to be a Kobe right on top of his head. Mezexis are down to 2. They're looking in towards We Support Farmers. HQA up on top. Now they're going to look to finish Mezexis off.
Yeah, Mezexis, now they're crawling into the bunkers themselves, trying to stay alive here. They might get that. Oh, they'll get the revive on Solitude, but they're going to be put in a 4v3 situation. And we saw how Mezexis just, like, demolished the team hiding inside the bunker with nades and mollies. And HQA is going to look to do the same.
But now the Demolishers potentially could become the Demolished as the circle does shift up north, just away from the edge of this bunker, and that's where Chi Wong has been able to kind of, you know, long rotate around, knowing that even though he's in the open, the players in Mezexis are stuck in there and they need to stay somewhat deep. And with those smokes, it gives them so much room to wrap around, look to get some form of information, maybe chuck up a grenade in that area. I know they've used a lot up until this point, but Mezexis, man, you gotta think their time's over.
Yeah, they're watching their clock right now, and the clock is ticking down. HQA has all the angles covered, and we even saw HQA look for potential snakes outside of the bunker. Great, you know, caution. You know, you can never be too safe. But at this point, I think they realized, hey, it's a 4v3, and all 3 is Mezexis, and they're stuck inside. It's a waiting game right now. HQA don't want to push in. They don't want to make a mistake of, you know, throwing the game because they know they got it in the bag. And if anything, when the circle shifts, there's a good chance it shifts off of Mezexis. So they'll take the even easier win of when Mezexis has to push out of the cover. So I think that's what HQA is waiting for. They're waiting for that circle shift. If they get it, great. Even easier for us to kill Mezexis. If they don't, then we'll see them start pushing in, start throwing some more nades in, and, you know, take the 4v3 head on.
But here's the thing. You know Mezexis. They got 1 golden knock. They're going to push it. We know that. Not only because I have to, but because it's Mezexis and how they've been performing over the whole day. And Yuanzi, hey, why not go for a cheeky pan throw? If that was a knockdown, that would be clip-worthy for years.
That would have been hilarious. I could just imagine if he threw that. Oh, speaking about throwing stuff, they still got nades. They're throwing it in. Yeah, Mezexis' time is nearing to an end now.
Oh my lord! How are none of the Mezexis players knocked out from those grenades being fired off? But they are returning up. Alucard is on low health. The Molotov's gonna burn 2 of the Mezexis players alive. The third one goes out, and that is HQA kicking off day 3 of the finals with a juicy chicken dinner.
1 molly to end them all. I think that 1 Molotov spread to all 3, and it wiped out the Mezexis team. That end game, though, I liked what Mezexis did. They realized they were pressed between 2 different teams. They're like, if we take this fight with HQA, We Support Farmers is going to backstab us. So let's just go ahead and focus on We Support Farmers, get some kills, secure 1 more higher placement. And of course, HQA, they had the advantage being on the outside sandwiching Mezexis. So Mezexis did it as best as they could. HQA played as perfectly as they could. And We Support Farmers, they try to survive in there, but we saw how lethal those grenades and Molotovs are when they're stuck inside the bunker.
Oh man, you are so right with that in terms of, I asked the question, should We Support Farmers join up as a 4-man team, and you predicted the future. Maybe they should have had 1 player in that off angle, even if it was like prone down on the Edge might have been able to catch out some of the Mezexis players, or just to get that little bit of a knock to allow the rest of his team to then come out of the bunker to get that squad right. But either way, they went for it. It worked out. They got third place nonetheless. One thing to point out with Mezexis on a side note, even though they didn't get the chicken dinner, they did score more points than HQA. They got 16 kills in that game. That's 28 points compared to HQA's 25.
Yeah, they came in from the northeastern side, right? We saw them take that bridge, wiped out Punjab, stayed on the edge. They controlled everything on that northeastern side to the point where every time the circle shifted off them, they had free reign on all the teams in front of them, even if they didn't have zone. And it went down to that ending. That's where they farmed all the kills. Beautifully played by Mezexis. And we support farmers. They did the best they could. I like that they had that 2-2 split earlier, maximize, potential kills. And then when that zone shifted and it centralized on one bunker, yeah, maybe they could have had one snake coming in very late and had that off angle on Mezexis towards the very end. But I would say that's a very, high skill level, high risk play. Teaming up together as a 4-man, it could have worked out for them still. So I think we support farmers also played it as beautifully as they could.
So true. So true. That was the Military Island finish for game 1. What a way to kick off day 3 of the PMCO Finals. We still have 3 more games to go, so don't go away, as we're going to be coming up real soon with a wonderful Sanhok game. Don't go away.
OnePlus 8T. This has the 120 hertz, so it is wicked smooth.
15 minutes will get you charged up for a whole day.
And this has a quad camera too. We got a 48, a 16, a 5, and a 2 megapixel. OnePlus 8T. This has the 120 hertz, so it is wicked smooth.
15 minutes will get you charged up for a whole day.
And this has a quad camera too. We got a 48, a 16, a 5, and a 2 megapixel.
Day 3 of the PMCO 2021 Spring Split North America Finals, brought to you by OnePlus and the OnePlus 8T. We just had an Erangel game, but not only an Erangel game with a military island and a military base. Finished Zute. Yeah. It was wild.
Yeah, the bunker play came into fruition. That, little wall I talked about, earlier on, that's what secured HQA the chicken dinner. Yeah, taking that wall, sure, it's like all you have is a slim little edge line for cover, but it was center zone, and HQA went there when the circle was already really small. Yeah. They just prone, stayed alive, killed Syndicate, and then won the game out, and it was beautifully done. I think all the teams leading towards the end did what they could, given that the position they chose, and they optimized it, which was great to see.
So true. Let's have a look at the overall standings after that game 1 in Erangel. It is clear that it's a top 3 ahead of pretty much everybody else, right? EFC on 128, HQA on 121, Mezexis on 117. So they're in their own little world right now. And it's really, to be fair, it's really nice to see.
Yeah. And speaking about top 3, right? PassionFruit right below them. PassionFruit has an 11-point gap on 5th place, right? PassionFruit's looking like the team that's kind of like, hey, we're big boys too. Can I join the club? So they're trying to get up there with the top 3. That's not any discredit to them whatsoever. PassionFruit, playing very amazing. 4th place, really good job out of them. Not trying to make fun of them whatsoever.
They're like the friend in the group that's like a little bit shorter and needs to be lifted up to get to the sweet jar kind of thing, or the fruit jar. There you go. But yeah, no doubt they are definitely performing well. We support farmers. Really strong game for them in game 1. Yeah. 3rd place, they moved themselves up from 13th to 9th, and more importantly, it now leaves them only 4 points behind Syndicate in 8th place. So for their journey, for their kind of fight to get into the top 8, it was really needed from them.
Yeah, great start of the day, great start to the day for them for sure. One thing I want to highlight is the point gap. Right now, yes, if we look at 9th place down to 13th place, it literally goes down by ones. 55, 54, 53, 52, 51. 9th to 13th, and we all know top 8 qualify, crazy, right? So yeah, we support farmers. Yes. They're like, oh, we're in 9th place. We're right next to 8th place. Sure. So is the 4 other teams behind you. And not just that, in front of them, Syndicate at 59, Dior 1 place above at 60, and then goes to 67 and 69. Everybody is so tightly packed in the middle here, and it's going to make for some really nail-biting games for these teams. And as long as the top 3 teams keep soaking up these points and having good games, that leaves all the other teams scrambling for any points they can get, any placement points, any kill points that they can get to try and make that top 8.
And that's why we think the placement in the final 4 games and even the final 3 games today are going to be that little bit more important. You go from 6th to 5th, 5th to 4th, of course, 4th to 3rd. That could be make or break by the end of the tournament. So every single game, I know we talk about it so much, but really we cannot stress enough, Every single game counts.
Yeah, and this is to qualify for PMPL, PUBG Mobile Pro League. This is when you get that official pro slapped onto your name because you're in the Pro League. Right now, you're just in the Club Open, right? The Club Open, the club is more like, hey, you want to come over and show in the club? It's like, invite only, but it's not like out of merit, right? That's what I think of when I hear the word club. But when you move on to the Pro, the PUBG Mobile Pro League, that's kind of when you stamp your card as like, we did it, boys. We made it. We made a name for ourselves. So that's for the top 8. And a lot of these teams still battling for that.
For sure. We're moving into Sanhok for game 2 of the day. And one team that I want to highlight real quickly because they've actually looked pretty strong, grabbing their only chicken dinner in this map, is SegmentX. They have definitely performed good in Sanhok. They're not the best in the overall standings, but if there's kind of one map that I look at that can kickstart their run into the top 8 or their fight to really secure top 8 spot, it is the Sanhok game.
Yeah, and Sanhok, they do land Painan. I would say Painan is definitely one of the better positions to start off in Sanhok, and we're about to see exactly how well they do out of Painan this time around.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see. Indeed, we're going to be moving into the map very shortly, so of course, get your jungle caps on, get your goggles ready, or whatever you bring into the jungle mountains, and let's get this show on the road. Of course, playing Bath, it's not really super important to highlight in this Sanhok game because it's the smallest map in PUBG Mobile.
Yeah, smallest map for sure. And you're talking about bringing your jungle cap and stuff. You know what I would bring into Sanhok?
Yeah.
I would bring bug spray just because I hate bugs.
Oh, yeah.
And then I would also bring a lot of first aid kits. That's what I would bring.
There you go. There you go.
Yeah.
Well,
the med strats coming in huge. Remember the Panthers, right? The Panthers?
Yes.
They got that 3rd place finish when we thought they were dead and done. But speaking about dead and done, Punjab doing a split drop, contesting the Panthers on the Northwestern Island. And not just any Northwestern Island. We're going to have a zone ending on the Northwestern Island. So we haven't seen a military base ending yet. And we haven't seen a Northwestern Sanhok finish yet. And we're about to get both back-to-back straight out the gates today. It's great. It's amazing. This is hype. And the Panthers already lost 1 player to the Punjab, I believe. Yeah.
And wow, do you think this is Punjab looking at this going, we're 9 games in and we've only got 10 points. We've got nothing to lose at this stage. The shackles go off. We start hunting. We start having fun.
I hope so, right? Because this split, we have seen the Panther drop a 4, right, over here. So the Punjab, this should be something that they're expecting. And the way they picked up a kill already, I think, this is planned, this is strategized. And maybe more so for fun because they realize this split is one that we can maybe take advantage of easier. Like we see splits with Mezexis, they're kind of closer to each other. They can help each other out more. The split that the Panthers do, it's definitely bigger and the players are more isolated. So I like this out.
Oh, but Legal, who was prone down, is going to get 1. Now he's going to switch over his gun. He gets a 2nd. Oh, pew, 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 pew. Legal with the double kill just like that. Punjab, your number has been answered. Your call has been answered. And that is the Panthers taking 2 of you out just like that.
That was such a clean double kill that I just want to do, that deep voice, that the double kill. That was a really good one. That was really clean, and they needed it too because it's like not only did he get 2 kills when they're down 1 player, right? He has control of the top mountain now. Imagine if he lost that fight. That gives Punjab free access to the top.
Yes.
In that zone, we all know if you control that top, you're sitting pretty. So he not only got 2 kills, he secured a strong, crucial position for his team. So great job to Legal. That was like one of the probably clutch moments of this game, I would have to say already.
So true. I couldn't agree more. We did see we support farmers go for a really early rotation into that northwestern island. They normally drop on kind of the northwestern edge of the mainland, so they had a quick, clean access. But what I liked about that is that they have kept, as far as I know, for the time being, one player in that compound that they drop in the mainland to give a bit of an oversight. The risk, of course, is that he can go down, but I think with the information he's going to be able to gather, if he stays there, I believe will be a bit more valuable to the whole team's journey throughout this Sanhok game.
Yeah, leaving one player behind, doing a 3-1 split, if you know what you're doing, it is very strong. Because you don't need 4 players pressing in, because 3 versus 4, it's relatively the same. But if you have one player on the back, holding your flank, that's the most crucial thing to have when you're rotating around as a team in Sanhok.
Dior dropped in boot camp. They moved over a bit to the coastal line, but Warning 6 caught out one. Yet here does somewhat save Dior's chance of holding on to, or at least taking down Warning 6 in this area by the coastal line of the mainland off the back of a beautiful grenade from Yahir to get that knockdown. And with his teammate, they're going to look to push on in. But I think the revive has been pulled off where they left it possibly a little bit too late to push in aggressively. Although they were going in with a lack of information. I think that's more sent Warning 6 down into the water than anything. And that's allowed Dior to still control the edge of this mainland.
Yeah, Dior pushing very cautiously because you see this ridgeline, right? There's so many angles where the enemy players could be split up and peek over. So that is why we see them hesitate, and I can't play them at all point. They didn't know all of 1-6 grouped up together in one spot, but now that they're working it slowly, they're managing to, get some more info. And Dior, they could potentially decide to push over this. I wouldn't be too surprised if they back off here because third-party potential is always an issue. In Sanhok.
Warning 6 sent to the water. They do still have one player, I think, in the actual rock side. Keeping himself low down, but other than that, I think Warning 6 are under any real pressure. They're still up as a full squad, and I think even one of them is across on that northwestern island, so he's even providing more of an anchor point, more of a suppression, so the rest of his team can join up in due time. I think Dior are even aware of that, so they've gone back to the warehouses at boot camp.
Yeah, I want to see Warning 6 start moving now, right? Like, you have your anchor points set across. There's no reason to have 3 players on this side still. We already saw the first circle. It is very heavily favoring that northwestern island. They should get a move on. Set up defense on the main island. Start getting information on the main island. No more need to dilly-dally here, because if Dior pushes over the top and they try and shoot you while you're swimming, you can have that anchor point in the back to provide you cover. And that's all you really need. And if the anchor point is not enough, you're not going to get any more than that, right? So, you got to move on, keep it going, just like all these other teams are. And we see Ace, they have a vehicle. I'm hearing a tuk-tuk, though, so not the best vehicle to be using. And Mezexis, we see Mezexis and Painon, meaning SegmentX has already rotated out of Painon. Mezexis knowing, SegmentX, they're not going to sit around here. They're probably going to rotate. So I like that. They're passing through where an enemy loots because they know that enemy team will most likely have left by now.
And in theory, they're also pathing from where they would normally drop, which gives them a little bit more of a familiarity into this phase 1 circle. They still, of course, have to thread it with caution because they're obviously rotating 1.5, 2 minutes later than they normally would, but at least there's a little bit of familiarity there.
Yeah, and also another thing they could do to their advantage is they could keep track of kill feed, and the second they see SegmentX in a fight, they could pretty much assume that's somewhere in front of us, and can we leverage this info to our advantage? So that's another thing that they have going for them by pathing back through where an enemy team loots.
This is super random, but there's low-key somebody that I want to give a quick shout out to. That is Juicy of Exa, because He's a player on social media who's always spreading positivity and good vibes. And from a meme standpoint in the PMCO NA, he's put out some absolute bangers across the group stage and the finals, where genuinely he's made us both laugh out loud and multiple people across the community. So just while we're in a little bit of a quiet period, just a bit of a shout out to you, my friend. Don't stop spreading the fun, spreading the laughter, and hey, doing what you do. It's good to have somebody like you in the community like that.
Yeah, and since we're on the map of Sanhok too, right? You mentioned Juicy. One thing that his team Xset loves doing on Sanhok is they'll play the buildings, but they literally will not make a single noise, and they'll just sit in the corners. And then when the enemy team runs in, they just crossfire them. I saw a clip on Twitter the other day where they did it to 19E, right? And if you're in the NA community and you're watching this, you guys probably know who Carnage is. And the best part of that clip, the best part of that clip is the person they camped out and killed in that fashion was Carnage, and they were having a grand old time about it. So, but we're getting into the action. Alucard with the buggy rotating really fast next to the mountaintop. He will take some shots out of Ace. If he survives this is really good because it gives his team a lot of info. This danger point on the top hill, yeah, it's occupied, so adjust your follow-up rotation accordingly.
Luckily for Alucard, Peaceful threw out a grenade rather than having that gun out, which meant he was going to be able to at least get to the side of that building. It gives him a little bit more room to breathe, but what I like is that Nomi full sent it down, giving absolutely no chance, no opportunity for recovery. That is aggression. That is calculated. That is good from Team Ace.
Now that is really good, because if they were any slower on that aggression, Mezexis is on their flank and Alucard's on the front, and then all of a sudden, Ace's pressure from both sides. So the aggression, really good call. They recognize it's only one. Take this player out quickly. I don't care who's on our back. Take this player out quick enough that we can worry about our backside afterwards.
And they know now that, you know, Mezexis are behind them, right? Because that one player came from the south, came from Painan, and that's why I like Midnight stayed on top of the hill, even with another player as well, to make sure that they're looking in the direction, they're making sure that they're not being narrow-minded, that they're not going to get caught out, and they are going to be able to gatekeep Mezexis. Of course, teammates do need to consider the fact that they are still on the Southwest Island, so they can't be too stubborn, right? They do need to think, hey, we don't want to become the team that gets gatekept on the next circle. So how should they actually go around this, right? Should they stay where they are, or should they move into the circle?
All they really need is to send one player to do a little bit of info gathering, right? Towards more central circle. They should leave the others behind just in case, you know, Mezexis tries to sneak up. But the second they see another player of Mezexis go down on the kill feed, they're going to realize, okay, Mezexis is probably stuck or trying to rotate around. And there we go. Nice shots. Bishop probably not going to get revived. Midnight, though, also getting shot up by JCR. And they should be looking to get info now and not worry about these two teams. They're on their sides. There's no real reason to fight them because we are going into only Circle 3. There's a lot of spacing left to play. So, once again, no use in dilly-dallying as they've already secured their backsides.
Wow, Mezexis being dropped one by one. That's going to leave them down to just one player. I think it's Bishop. That's on his own, and it's going to be tough for him. He's just going to have to try and heal and chunk up towards the blue zone, hope for the best. We are seeing PassionFruit and ESC fight in the kill feed. They have traded knocks as of right now. Not exactly sure where that is in the map, but we'll have to wait and see who comes out on top of that. It is actually in Hating, with Warning 6 down the south of them by the opposite side of the bridge, and Phase 3 is about to show up.
Oh, one question, Imperium. Why is the Panthers not on that top hill that I was talking about that's so strong and so crucial, and one of the only reasons you should be doing that split to begin with?
I don't know. Maybe they were trying to be absolutely big brain and thought, hey, it's going to go in Camp Alpha direction. Maybe they're not confident of holding on because they have a player knocked down. Yeah. So I can low-key respect that, but overall, I agree with that question of why aren't they there?
Yeah. But we do have the next circle shift in that top mountain slightly in play, but we have a pretty hard eastern shift. We support farmers.
Yes.
Dead in the center of zone. This could be another big game out of them, just like we saw on Erangel, right? They got that central positions at those bunkers pretty early, and I think central position on Sanhok it's the most valuable out of any map. You know, if you're center on Sanhok, that's probably the map that you really want to be centered on, because you get to avoid a lot of the fights, and if it hard shifts off you, well, I mean, it's Sanhok. You got to fight either way. So at least you don't have to run through a bunch of teams to get into the next hard shift circle. No matter where it hard shifts from center, you'll be close to it.
Oh, HQA. They've shown their strength in Sanhok, all things considered. Now they're still in the mainland, but they're pushing this side of Dior in the boot camp buildings. This is what these classic games prepare you for. We know that teams love to drop into Sanhok on the classic games and take those 2 to 3 team fights at a time. So both of them should be a bit prepared. But Dior are down to 3. They've won in the warehouses. Actually, no, sorry, all 3 are in the mainland. So it is going to be 4v3.
Yeah, but Dior is caught in a sandwich. That team coming into the warehouse presses in. Could be a huge issue. So that is forcing Dior. Yeah, one of Dior just got third party, but they're pressing this fight. They know they're sandwiched. Gotta take it. There's not much more they can do. And Dior, yeah, third partied, pressed by HQA. HQA is also going to be able to get a full reset, and Dior don't pick up any kills off that engagement. Yeah, it's in this situation, Dior, they should focus their defense on one side. Either 3-stack the warehouses or 3-stack the boot camp area so you can control an engagement. They did that split. You saw it. You were mentioning, you know, they had one at the warehouse. That player did run over, but a little bit too late as Syndicate already came from the backside, and that was the ultimate demise, leading to Dior dropping out of this game as the first team out, too, nonetheless.
Yeah, they were coming into this game in 7th on 60 points, only 1 point ahead of Syndicate in 8th. So that's even more of a, you know, knife twisting in the back moment for Dior. Syndicate are going to reap the rewards of that, and they're going to make the way across, swimming into the northwestern island. The next phase is about to pop up, and the Panthers have now gotten themselves up onto the mountainside. Is it going to be too little, too late? We'll have to wait and see. And Zute.
Yeah, that's a good shift for Pro Era. That's the Pro Era in the best position possible. Fighting out of that spot and that compound, it's I'm not going to say easy, but any rotation out of that compound when they get hard shifted away, it's easily doable, especially with 4 players. And the Panthers, we see them on top of that hill. They got a little bit of zone still on the top of that hill for the next circle. That's where they might play. JCR taking this 2v2 right now with Punjab. Punjab getting the better of them with the opening knock.
I wonder where the rest of JCR are, to be fair, as Nimbo's going to take out Nemesis. And there you go. That's where the rest of JCR Look and Fire are going to be on towards a mountain area, and they're going to look to just avoid that and let their 2 players go down. Was that a matter of JCR having their players far too separated coming into phase 4 of Sanhok? You know, there's just, in my eyes, too many risks there.
I think that was a domino effect. I wouldn't expect any players to be in Punjab's position, but that domino effect of Punjab going down to a 2-man and getting pressured by the Panthers forced them into that awkward spot on the edge of zone. So JCR just ran into that unfortunate domino effect, and they do lose 2 players. And one thing to note, the Panther actually stole away one of those kills.
Ooh. Okay. Not done by the Panthers. Isn't that mountainside to their advantage? High elevated terrain. As Oscar is going to go down, he's actually at the hands of the play zone. But either way, Luke will be happy with the fact that he's suppressed Punjab a little bit and gotten a bit of sweet revenge. LeveLx, they have nowhere to go. EFC are waiting in the wings, although one of the EFC players do go down. That's Venom, knocked out by Spring. That will allow, hopefully, those 2 revives to be pulled off onto the players of EFC.
Yeah, EFC trying to, control their backside and really gatekeep all the teams. Maybe a slight miscalculation in timing as it led to 2 of them getting knocked. I think both teams probably crossing the open at the same time, so we see like a little shooting gallery coming out. But EFC will get that full reset to their 3 players left. LeveLx, though, not going to be as lucky. And this circle is about to change, too. The zone's going to be taking much harder. So EFC, they need to get a move on right now.
And Beast only has 1 energy drink and 1 bandage. He's just used the energy drink. He's going to use the bandage. That's it. He can only last as long as he can last. And I think that's going to force him into a position where he is just going to look for those kills as he runs and tries to make it towards the circle. He finds Coops. That is nicely done. Spring, he's just better off letting his player go down. And it is going to be Spring to get that clap back as HQA made their way across onto the Northwest Island. But Syndicate were already there. And now they're going to gatekeep them on the eastern edge of this Phase 5.
Yeah, Syndicate's been one of the teams that have actually been kind of quiet that I think is a sleeper team, right? They have the potential to come up and show up big.
Yeah,
and with what
fair.
I'm looking at right now, they have 5 kills already. They got the next zone. They're in a good position to control and funnel teams away or kill teams and pick up more kills. This could be Syndicate's game to really put them, back on.
Yeah, but they have to be careful. They have to be careful. Not only of the fact that they've yet to get rid of HQA, but they are somewhat in the open. There's a little bit of dip and trough available for them, but yeah, there is a chance they can get third party from the teams to the west of them. Pro Era, you talked about their position. They're not in Phase 5 though, so they're going to have to move out, and they are going to look for the players of teammates. They stayed in the position until the blue zone starts closing in, so they can look to try and hopefully gatekeep and take down a couple of players pushing in from the blue zone of Phase 4.
Yeah, this is the play. When you're playing in Sanhok, it's not about just going into the next circle. It's more about killing the teams off before you get to that circle so they're not a thorn in your back. And you see Pro Era, right? They didn't prioritize that circle. They could have ran here at any point, but they stayed back, waited for the other team to come in and press them away and start working them off. And now they're in circle safely, but there is still Peaceful left that could third party this and spoil it.
And I think they know that, right? Because that's why C got looked behind and then prone down after, or look behind before he prone down. 3 players are Pro Air by the rock. That's not going to give them too much cover. It's SegmentX who are still in this game. Going to get knocked down. Luckily, Kaisk is going to return fire to give a little bit of space towards the players of Pro Air, allow that revive to be pulled off. Syndicate and HQA still fighting up against each other. In towards the smoke. Rad going up against Chi Wong in a 1v1 on the blue zone of Phase 6. And can we say Chi Wong possibly going for the heal strat, or is he going to go for the kill?
He's gonna go for both, and if he kills Rad, he picks up all those first aids also.
I know.
And the zone had hard shifted all the way to the left, so they realized we're probably not getting in. We're just gonna try and kill each other and get as many kill points as possible. And we support farmers. I was talking about it. Central zone on Sanhok is the best first central zone on any map, and they are getting rewarded so heavily for it.
That's what they get for moving in early. That's what they get for reacting nicely toward these circle shifts. And now they're up as a full squad in a 2-2 split in the only buildings in play. Warning 6. Going to be dealt a load of pressure with those grenades being chucked out by Pro Era. But Pro Era are not in the best of health as HQA from behind looking to backstab them. Luckily, Seagut is aware of that. He's the last player up. Will he be able to go for the revive on the Fishy to keep them up as a 2-man team? We are left with our final 3 teams. 4v2v2 as Phase 7 goes towards We Support Farmers.
We support farmers. Definitely clinch this one out. This time, they're not stuck in the bunkers. This time, they got the only compound left in play, and they got the zone, and it should be easy pickings for them. The only way this could go bad is if if Warning 6 and Pro Era time their pushes perfectly together and just somehow, kill off We Support Farmers at the same time. But that's not the case. Warning 6, they know they want to go for the weaker team, and that is the Pro Era team to their left.
Inactive gets a knockdown, but Cash is on a masterful low amount of health. Seagull is going to be the snake, and Grass confirmed that kill up, but the blue zone is going to get the better of them, and Inactive is left on his own. 1v4, the miracle play, it ain't going to come on through. This is We Support Farmers claiming the game, claiming the chicken dinner, and they are going to rule the roost in Sanhok.
Yeah, with only 3 kills, but it's Sanhok. Like, we talk about, you know, you got to get the kills on Sanhok. Sanhok is all about kills. Not if you get those very nice circles all the way to the end. They got 3 kills. They literally did not kill anyone until the very last circle. It was the 3 that they probably got on Era and a mix with Warning 6. So that must feel nice on Sanhok.
You take those.
You take those for sure. Like, Warning 6, also a good finish though. 3 kills, but second place, and they had to work their way in.
Yeah, that's actually really true. Like, you know, we have to touch upon We Support Farmers because not only did they get that chicken dinner, but they got 14 points in game 1. So that's a total of 32 points across 2 games. That's the kind of consistency, but the high level consistency that's going to help them put them in the spot of like PassionFruit, Mezexis. Now they do need to keep it up. They're not out of the woods just yet, but if they stay on target, we can easily see We Support Farmers solidify themselves as one of the 8 teams moving to the PMPL.
Yeah, this is definitely one of those teams that is like, it's a shakeup, right? We keep talking about it. Yep. Anybody can make it into top 8. And we were like, from 1st to 15th place, anybody could have been top 8 at the end of the day. And We Support Farmers, they're making it happen. 2 good games down. They got 2 more left to go. Another team, I think Warning 6, they had a good finish. That maybe not be enough just yet, but it's a start, right? Maybe they get a good game 3, good game 4, and also Pro Era. The top 3 teams that we just saw finish out of Sanhok, right, is the 3 teams that all really need the points. Pro Era coming in 3rd, but not just any 3rd place. They picked up quite a few kills along the way.
Yeah, they really did. We'll go through it all when we get back from the break, so don't go away. There's 2 more games to go in day 3 of the PMCO NA Finals.
OnePlus 8T. This has the 120 hertz, so it is wicked smooth.
15 minutes will get you charged up for a whole day.
And this has a quad camera too. We got a 48, a 16, a 5, and a 2 megapixel. OnePlus 8T. This has the 120 hertz, so it is wicked smooth.
15 minutes will get you charged up for a whole day.
And this has a quad camera too. We got a 48, a 16, a 5, and a 2 megapixel.
Day 3 of the PMCO North America Spring Split Finals. Man, brought to you by the wonderful folks over at OnePlus and the OnePlus 8T. Let's not waste any more time. Let's not waste any more time. Let's go straight to Leaderboard, Zute, and see where these teams lie.
Yeah, this is what I'm looking at right now, man. Okay, so obviously one thing we always talk about is what team is in what place. Yes. But the stat I want everyone to really focus on is the total points. The total points and the difference between these teams, it doesn't even matter. For example, if you're looking at 10th place down to 14th place, any one of these teams could be 10th place. We're talking about 60 points in 10th, down to 58, down to 57, 56, 55.
Jesus, so close.
That's like half a game's worth of point difference. Like you could pick up 3 kills in the beginning of the match and you shoot up like 3 placements. And not just that, from 5th place down to 8th or 5th place down to 9th place, 74, 73, 73, 71, 70. It is so tight right now. Like I said it earlier, these teams are scrapping for any point they could get. 1 point difference is huge. 2 points even bigger. And the point standings right now, you show it all.
That is unbelievable. I do want to say credit to We Support Farmers because they did start today in 13th and they have moved up to 6th. So, you know, that is a strong 2 games from them. But like you correctly point out, because it is so close in these points that they have to keep it up. I'm also a little bit worried about PassionFruit, right? Are they losing their passion? They're in 4th, yeah, but they're 82 points. That's only 8 points ahead of 5th, who are only 4 points ahead of 9th.
Fair, but I think it's just all the teams that really need to step it up. They each have had their blow-up game. So suddenly the points are coming up closer and closer, but it'll balance out, right? I don't see like 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, all starting to step up each and every game, and PassionFruit just drowning out, right? They should be fine. They should be chilling. And on a side note, first place now belongs to HQA at 135 points.
They've gotten 39 points in 2 games tonight. First game, chicken dinner. Second game, they didn't have the most amazing result, but because they got what was it? 6 kills with those 8 placement points. Yeah, they got 14 points in total. So, you know, well above the average that we, of course, look for. They even overtaken the kill count as well. 1 more kill than EFC. Is that going to potentially light a fire under EFC and go, you know, from a pride point of view, wait, we don't want to be second place. In the words of Ricky Bobby, if you're not first, you're last.
Yeah, EFC, they want that first place. I know for a fact they want that first place. So now they have something to fight for. They're not just sitting pretty at the top anymore.
Yeah, man, that's what I want. I want to see the kind of EFC last game yesterday performance where they just go wild. You know, they rip their shirt off like Hulk Hogan and just, you know, flex their muscles, in-game muscles, and just go wild all across the ring that is PUBG Mobile in these games. And we are going to be moving on. It's funny enough, I should reference wrestling. quote or wrestler, should I say, we're going on to Miramar, which I do call Miramania. It's the biggest map in PUBG Mobile. It is sprawling with open areas, and it is a chance for a lot of these teams, of course, to have a controlling game, have a strong result. I know the circle shifts can be crazy in Miramar, especially because of the terrain, but it still is possible to get the result needed.
Yeah, we might see that head-to-head finish again that we saw yesterday on Miramar between HQA and EFC. And right now they're first and second respectively. So it might happen again. And you mentioned wrestling, and I just realized if there was a wrestling ring on any map, it would be Miramar. Like that Picado Arena, if you think about it, if they put some... Yeah, if you put some ropes up in that stadium, that would be the wrestling ring of PUBG Mobile.
And that's the bottom line, because Zute said so. See what did they see what man? I'm just full of wrestling puns tonight. I'm just full of wrestling puns. But who's gonna be the one to lay the smackdown on all of the other teams' candy asses in the Miramar game? We're gonna be getting into. We are gonna have a look at the desert terrain and where this kind of playing path is going to go. Opposite, of course, to Sanhok. That playing path makes a massive difference.
Yeah, and this playing path is a really solid, good playing path. We shouldn't see anything really happen early on. I do know La Cabrera was contested by two teams. It was Punjab, and I can't recall the other team that drops there, but we might see that play out once again off this playing path. Besides that, I think everyone should be in the clear. Everyone should be fine just looting the way they want. And the biggest determining factor now that we're waiting for is, of course, the very first circle.
Oh, man. Yeah, I like that playing path, to be fair. Punjab, are they going to look to go to El Pozo? That should be the case. Are M19 going to go there as well? Also, that looks to be the case. So all things considered, the teams will pretty much get to where they want to go. Yeah, I'm looking at this going, hey, this is not a bad way to start off the Miramar game.
Yeah, good playing path. Everyone should be chilling. I'm also feeling like it's going to be a good circle for everyone too. We've had some crazy games, and this circle, not the best circle. It's definitely very hard on the northern side. We see the northern tip of the circle isn't even in the map with how hard that is. But if the circle starts shifting back south, it should be a familiar play area for everybody. The biggest issue, of course, is just rotating into the very first circle itself, right? Our team's going to congest on the southern side. Are we going to see more looping rotation? I'm expecting a few looping rotations, and that might just catch a lot of teams on a choke point on the edge. For example, the teams on the south, right? They're either going to look to loop to the right or to the left as their entryway in. The 200 IQ play, though, honestly, would just be going straight in, because teams won't really edge on the corner straight direct path, because it's a mental game. If you think about it, right? Everyone's thinking, let's wrap around, so we're on the less congested side. So for the first circle, if you're the team that just goes straight in, you might be able to just find yourself a nice open area.
Yeah. That's true. M19, Ralphino taking a couple of shots towards one of the Punjab United players. Nimbu is inside that arena. Well, actually, I forget what that's called, what the circle dome is actually called. I don't know if they call it an arena, to be fair. It does remind me of the Roman days. Oh, it's called... Okay, well... Okay.
I'm just throwing something out there.
Yeah, you know what? That's fair enough. But now you're making me hungry, to be fair. But M19, they're in 14th place. That sounds bad, but they're only 6 points behind 8th position. So one good game, and that's it. That's them up there. So the potential, the points, we know what M19 can do. They finished the group stage in a strong fashion, positional wise. They need to replicate it in the finals.
Yeah, and the finals is always a different beast. Something I've noticed from my years of competing, right? Group stage and the finals, middle of the pack group stage, you could finish anywhere shuffled around going into the next stage. It's only really maybe the top 2 or top 3 out of group stages that the results you see kind of carry over. Going back to like PMGP results, right? 4 AM did really great in the group stage. They did really great in the finals. Another team that did really great would be BTR in the group stage. In the finals, they didn't do the performance that everyone was expecting because everyone's thinking they're a championship team. We want that first place. But realistically, they still did pretty well, you know, from an unbiased, uninfluenced point of view in the finals. So coming into this, M19, they did do good in the group stage, but they didn't do like a massive performance where it's like, we can maybe see that carry over. Now they're struggling a little bit. They're trying to get the points in, and they're trying to get the ball rolling.
Plus, this is the very first PMCO where there's no semifinals. So that, you know, that kind of gap, that level of introduction into better teams throughout the stages is wiped out. There's no middleman. You go from, hey, group stage, 32 teams to the top 16, and you have to be able to adapt quicker, right? Because without the semifinal stage where you're able to adapt to the teams and you're given more time with the potentially top teams, that ain't the case here. So you either live or you die, so to speak.
Yeah, the adjustment is definitely bigger and it needs to be done quicker. Right, but since we're on the topic of adjustments, one team that didn't get a chance to adjust to anything that's doing phenomenally well is HQA. They were an invite to the finals, so they didn't even get a chance to warm up, so to say, in the group stage and get familiar with teams in the group stage. But that just goes to show, like, if you're an experienced team and you have your own game plan set and ready, it almost doesn't matter what these other teams do. You're going to stick to your plan. And if there's a little road bump in the way, because some team does something, you know, that kind of intervenes in your game plan, you just run them over. You're prepared to take that fight. You're prepared to, you know, not play around them, but force them to play around you. And I think that's the big difference between the top 2 teams right now compared to everyone else.
So true. So true. Talking about this phase 1, while teams are starting to rotate in there, we see SegmentX on the move. PassionFruit also made a bit of a move. One team that I like to see utilize a very strong position in this phase 1 is Team Ace, because they drop in Al-Azhar. And just to the west of Al-Azhar is a fantastic kind of triangle high ground point that gives a lot of information around them. And one thing to note that I'd like to think you agree with, compared to, let's say, a southern phase 1, this kind of phase gives you a lot more information on areas around you, because it's a little bit, even though you have high ground and low ground, there's no like massive city in the way. There's no absolutely big mountain that is stopping you from getting, you know, a lack of information. I think you're able to really utilize a strong northeastern position.
Yeah, the key word we're looking for here is traffic control. With a circle like this on Miramar, traffic control is crucial. And if you're the team that loots close to the northeast, your job right now is traffic control. Push all the teams away the way you want to funnel them. Give yourself more spacing. Yeah, there's no big buildings or cities in the way that, you know, stops you from controlling traffic 360 degrees all around you.
That's also true. Yeah, that is so true. You're able to see people earlier and therefore react a bit quicker. We support farmers dropping TeamJCR. They're now starting to make their way into the circle. They're still in the blue, mind you. And 5 JCR, I know it's a trike and they're a little bit hard to drive, but you can't go 2 meters without dropping off. The Syndicate are going to be pushing in towards Mezexis, and they pick up a nice kill. both sending in as a full squad. I don't know if Mezexis were already there, but either way, Syndicate, they'll take that. Kill, still up as a full squad.
Yeah, Mezexis split loot south of that compound, and I think what happened is they are just taking too long looting. That one player got caught out by himself trying to finish up the loot. The Syndicate team has already rotated in, and oh my god, it shifts. I don't even think it shifted away from the north. Like, if we could see where the north tip of that circle is, I'm pretty sure it's touching the previous northern tip. And so, okay, PUBG Mobile, throwing us in for a loop here. Game number 1, right? We get that military base ending. Love it. Game number 2, we get that northwestern island finish on Sanhok. Game number 3, we're taking it all the way up to the northern east side of Miramar.
I personally absolutely love the north side of Miramar because you have kind of, you know, high ground, a little bit of valley, kind of high ground, and they're very solid positions to hold on to. But as far as experience, I don't think these teams will be heavily used to this kind of area in phase 2 and maybe rotating into those strong positions. So we could see maybe a couple of teams get caught out because of that.
Yeah, and we have that giant mountain right in the middle. And speaking about caught out, here you go. Chi Wang caught out on rotation. LeveLx have free reign. Chi Wang, he needs to get behind that wheel. Yeah, the wheels is what's gonna keep him alive. Perfectly done. But this is happening all around the map, right? Teams rotating, teams getting shot at, because this is such an unfamiliar circle, and teams are scrambling to try and make it into a good position. And I just realized once again, which team is struggling a little bit on their rotation that we see right here?
ESC?
No, sir. It is once again HQA. HQA, man. Their rotations need a little bit of work, whether it be the timing or maybe they're being too greedy. I don't know. They just get caught out time and time again.
I didn't know you were being like so direct. I thought you were maybe trying to think about a team that wasn't on our screens. Yeah, you know, I thought you were trying. Like, I thought, oh man, okay, fair enough. I failed that one. I'm sorry, senpai. I'm sorry.
Yeah, you're thinking too hard. It's what we're seeing right now, the HQA player. But yeah, so we have this big mountaintop, right? And then all around the mountain, there's so many obscure random pockets that if the zone does end up there, we can see a lot of teams playing in, and it's going to cause for a lot of confusion amongst teams on where can we go, where can we survive, what's a good spot, what's not a good spot, and it's just kind of a trial and error process at that point.
The blue zone of phase 2 is closing in. We're about 3/4 of the way through, and Mezexis are still in the blue, still chasing the edge of the circle. As far as I know, on the northeastern side, 1-6 following a similar path. They both lost a player, so they're both down to 3, which is going to, of course, make it a little bit harder to control that position inside the circle. But all things considered, they're both respecting each other for now. And Aluk, oh my, for a second I thought that truck is stuck. Alucard managed to keep it in.
That's one thing I really hate about Miramar. Those little like dips where it's, oh my god.
Yeah, I know.
Moment of silence.
Oh my god, wait, what the hell is that circle shift?
That's what I was talking about. That's what I was talking about. Moment of silence for these teams. I know our job as casters is to talk about, you know, the game, but let's just let this one sink in for all the viewers right now.
Exactly. Sometimes you just don't need to say much. Just Tori Hawamada is in the near center of this circle, and Tori Hawamada is the kind of city where it does sprawl, and it's a little bit like Minas Generalis in terms of there's a couple of kind of warehouses that have a lot of windows, so it's not really somewhere you can strongly control it. It's very tricky, but teams are kind of forced in that direction. SegmentX, Dior, LeveLx, PassionFruit, ESC, and then on the west, you have M19, you have the Panthers, you have Pro Era, Punjab United now also following suit on towards that main road. And on the east, you have Team Ace, you have Syndicate, you have Mezexis, Warning 6, and We Support Farmers.
Okay. Oh, missed it. I didn't get a chance to say. But did you notice how many teams are wrapping? And that straight shot path right down the center of the map is absolutely clear. That's what I was talking about at the beginning of this match. And yeah, everybody's thinking the same thing. Wrap around to the outside. But I was saying, you could be that one team and just go straight down the middle, and you're free rotation in. And that mini map that we had on just a few seconds ago, if you're watching on YouTube, you can pause it back. You could skip back a little bit, and you could see exactly what I was talking about. Straight down the middle, completely clear. Wrapping around the sides, completely congested. Everybody's doing it.
I would say with this circle, it's also influenced by the fact that each side has a main road, so it's a much quicker, in theory, path into the circle. But like you correctly pointed out, if there's 3-4 teams around you, that risk is obviously a lot higher than a bit more of a direct push into the circle. But we are currently looking at Syndicate and the side of Team Ace. Team Ace do seem to have a bit of a pinch on the Syndicate, while the Panthers gets another kill for their side, and Punjab United are down to just 3.
Yeah, we have so many skirmishes happening on the edge right now. Teams are being kept out in the blue just due to how crazy the shifts are. Great nade out of Legal. Legal has been really stepping it up, and once again, he's putting the hurt onto Punjab like he did in the last match.
Hey, you know what? The more things change, the more they stay the same, and this is definitely staying the same as Punjab United are being once again put under pressure, and as far as I know, it puts them down to just 2. The next phase, be the PUBG Mobile gods. It kind of centers up. It's going to be a Toriyamada kind of water tower scramble for the buildings finishes. Pro Air are going to send themselves in. You have LeveLx, you have SegmentX, you have Dior. It's going to become a cluster of an end game.
Yeah, this circle, okay. I think teams would have been happier if it shifted north again, because then they have at least open playing fields. But this is just a city ending, so to say, in one of the more obscure cities. And this city itself has some really weird elevations and open sight and some really weird, interesting buildings. And we see other teams on the top still trying to make their way in. It is definitely what you call it, a cluster, a complete cluster.
All I'll say is get prepared to not have that much time breaking things down. I feel like it's going to be one of those games where it's just going to be play-by-play, followed by more play-by-play, followed by more play-by-play. M19 does have Ralphino knocked down, and Active chucks out grenade to try and confirm that knock and even get another kill for his side. But Batman, oh my lord! Batman with help from Pro Era. No, wait. Did an Active blow himself up?
That's what it said in the kill feed. That is what it said in the kill feed.
And then We Support Farmers playing on the wall side, the Trump wall side of Miramar, gonna catch out M19, gets Ralphino, knocks down Batman. What is this game?
Ridiculous.
What is this game?
I've never seen that wall on my screen in a competitive match before. So we're literally seeing that northern wall, and teams are there shooting at other teams from that northern wall. This is how crazy of a game we have here on Miramar.
Oh man. Oh man. You know, mental. Hey, you know what? The walls of Miramar reminds me of the walls of Jericho. So let's see who's gonna put the hurt of the walls of Miramar in play as we do see the blue zone closing in. Looking towards the teams who are near the center of the circle. PassionFruit looking pretty good. You have LeveLx inside those city buildings. And then you have Syndicate still fighting up against Team Ace on the southeastern side of this phase 4.
Yeah, and Mezexis is dead center. They're at the water silos. I believe those are water silos. That's how unfamiliar I am with this. I'm not even sure, looking at the minimap, what some of these, dots are that are hardcover. Like, I'm not even lying. Like, I don't know. Like, north of Mezexis, you see those, like, little cactus-like looking building things? Like, those little dots?
Yeah.
I don't even know what that is. I don't think those are buildings. Those might be buildings.
They're
Anyways.
things. They're things. They're objects. They're things. They're objects. As We Support Farmers are going to be pushing on towards the Panthers. Nicely done by We Support Farmers. Get that second knock. Get that control. They do lose a player from behind, and actually Ivorian is going to get knocked down. Jinx is keeping this game alive for the side of the Panthers. Have to be careful of that third party from this side of HQA. So as much as HQA had issues rotating into these circles, credit where it's due. They found those oil containers, those water towers, whatever you want to call it, inside the western edge of this phase 5.
Yeah, and the circle shift does shift over to the west, and the keynote thing to note here, the middle of that circle, from the looks of it, is all open terrain, and you get a bunch of buildings surrounding it.
LeveLx just took down We Support Farmers. 12 teams left, 39 players as the Blue Zone is pushing in. Team Ace and the side of Syndicate are going to be obviously put under more pressure. Team Ace lose a player off the back of pushing in towards a more direct central part of this circle. And Crave is going to go down. That's the end of Team Ace, just like that. 3 kills for SegmentX as they're up to 4, and more importantly, still together as a full squad.
Yeah, Lolo still, I think, a little bit caught out. We see he's not grouped up with the team. I think he does have a vehicle. But SegmentX, they're not in zone, but they've secured an entry point into zone, which is the most important thing. It seems like everybody has pretty much made their way in. Maybe one team Pro Era might need to have to fight their way in still, but I think everybody's kind of found a home in this weird Miramar circle.
Now I'm wondering where phase 6 is going to go, to be perfectly honest, considering the wild circle shifts we've been getting. I know it's shrinking smaller and smaller, but I've no doubt that it could easily surprise us, as HQA AZ is going to surprise their players. With LeveLx gets another knockdown for a side, and provided support by Louis, they're going to push on in, playing on towards the low ground of that dip. I know LeveLx did chuck up a grenade somewhere towards the members of HQA, but they are driving in towards those smokes. There's shots being fired up with the Scar Ladle Daisy, looking to put the scars onto LeveLx. That's going to send them around the other side of the water tower. Beast is yet to be confirmed up, but that, of course, does give more control to HQA as this circle shifts out of Torre Almada buildings and into the open field.
Yeah, the only hard cover left is HQA's position along with LeveLx. I love that push by HQA. Even though they're a 3-man, they pushed together as 2. They had one held back to monitor the inside of the zone for information and rotations. And HQA, 2v4 situation, but they know they have the advantage because they made great use of that terrain. And they pushed LeveLx into a non-threatening spot now.
Mezexis JCR clashing on in. It's up to just Alucard. He got his vehicle nearly stuck earlier on, but he made it through, just like he's making this fight through for Mezexis. JCR unfortunately didn't push up as a full squad, and they are going to pay the price. 2 of their players go down. Pro Era, 2 hunkered inside the back of that broken truck, and they're going to wait it out. SegmentX have no idea, and they're pushing past them. PassionFruit are going to be in their way, so there could be that little bit of a pinch and suppression as SegmentX is taking shots towards Mezexis. Mezexis are most likely going to get absolutely blown apart by teams around them, because the 2 remaining players of JCR are going to try and get a bit of sweet revenge. Lolo goes down, indeed. Kisk comes up to Kisk the cheek of SegmentX and get that knockdown onto Lolo. Prophecy and Valak are still in play.
No, we missed it off screen, but EFC did rotate into HQA spot, and just as a 4-man team versus 3 of HQA, took over that strong western side position.
Valak! He knew what he was doing. He knew where he wanted to go, what he wanted to shoot at. But now Jay at PassionFruit drives himself down from the building atop and gets that knockdown onto Valak. PassionFruit on 7 kills, looking to end this Miramar game in a passionate result to really help to secure them in the top 8. I questioned whether they were going to be able to hold on. I questioned, hey, could they slip down? You said no, probably not. And this game will very easily prove your answer if they end it into the top 3. Still have 6 teams left of 14 players.
Yeah. The next zone shift is pretty much going to determine who's going to win this. It either goes to EFC or it goes to PassionFruit. I doubt there is a world where center's dead perfect in the middle where nobody's in zone, but I would love to see that. But we're about to see that circle shift right now. Right now, everyone's just taking pot shots at each other. These are more or less non-lethal shots, except for the teams that are dying.
Oh my god.
Goes out in 5th place, and it does go to PassionFruit.
Oh my god, and they are so gifted with that because that wall is just on the eastern edge of the circle. Yeah, they're not going to be able to, let's say, spread up, but at the end of the day, EFC are going to have to push out in the open. The good thing for EFC is that they came from that direction when they did push in on towards the players of HQA, so in theory, then it might be feeling a little bit confident to wrap back around in that same direction, and that's the case. Enigma, Coops, XTV are going to be following suit, keeping Spring on the back line atop of that water tower, which I think is very sensible.
Yeah, look at how fast EFC recognizes what to do on the next circle shift. That took less than 5 seconds to execute, and now all of a sudden, PassionFruit is put in a tough spot due to EFC, and the nades are coming in, and EFC might actually be the team to take this one out now.
You are waiting in the wings. I know LeveLx are nearby, but LeveLx, as far as I know, is down to 1. Chinu goes down, sorry, so that is LeveLx out of lobby. We're down to our final 3 teams. It's 9 players, so you gotta think that EFC knows that there's a 3rd team in play. That's why they're chucking out those smokes, so it gives them a little bit more room to play around and less chance they're going to be 3rd party, but it doesn't stop them raining the grenades over the little dip of the hill on towards the players of PassionFruit.
Now, I see the nades coming out, but I want to make sure PassionFruit save at least 1 or 2 nades each, because right now if they get a nade knock, it's going to be a revive. There's no way for them to confirm it. And the next circle,
look at
that's when those nades are really going to be needed.
And I know Spring just went out to the play zone, but he helped get the knockdown onto one of the Dior players, and then Coops with a beautiful grenade confirms that squad wipe, and we're down to 2 teams. It's a clean 3v3. Both of them are inside the circle. Phase 8 is going to shift in the favor of PassionFruit. So now EFC have to wrap around the side, and PassionFruit know that. PassionFruit know that, so they're going to look to push. They're going to look to gatekeep. They do not want to give any kind of space for EFC to climb over the ridge of that tiny hill, but they're going to have a little bit of an angle that they might be able to play with.
Yeah, we saw Coops try and get to the top. If Coops can get to the top, it'd be crucial, but he can't, so they're going to push him straight. This is their only play option now out of EFC. PassionFruit versus EFC for the finish.
Nicely done, no mercy. Gets another knockdown onto Enigma, and now it's 1 against 3. It's not going to be the case. Is it going to be the case? No, it's not. PassionFruit get a passionate chicken dinner in Miramar to solidify themselves up with the top 4. Lovely job done in a beautiful Tori Halmada finish.
Oh, beautiful finish indeed. And PassionFruit, they just got their big boy card off of that game. They have officially joined the club for being a big boy. I was making fun of them, I think, in game number 1, right? Like, hey, you're up there, but you're not really up there. And with that game finish, 15 placement points and 13 kills. Oh, yeah. They joined the big boy club after that finish.
Wow. And then EFC, right? I asked you, will that kind of put a little bit more fire under them in terms of getting a strong result in Miramar? And you said yes. They proved you right. Second place with 7 kills, 19 points. They're saying to HQA, look, you know, we let you get into first for a game. We let you feel gold. Now we're back in the #1 spot.
Speaking about EFC, I want to touch on a point that I made earlier, right? EFC came from the southern part of the circle in the middle, right? With those circle shifts, that is technically the straight shot rotation for all the teams that were not in circle on the south. And EFC was the only team that did that. EFC, if I'm not mistaken, didn't have to fight a team on their backside to push them away. So that means that 200 IQ play I was talking about, right? Just going straight down the middle. Sure, it's influenced by where EFC dropped, but they kind of realized teams all like to think they're one step ahead. Teams all think about wrapping around. EFC, they just went dead in the center, took that straight shot up, and got a second place finish for it. So great job to EFC.
SegmentX, I can finally say, have got a strong result. 12 points with 6 kills. However, unfortunately for them, in terms of creating some form of cushion and climbing somewhere up into the top 8, LeveLx got 11 points. Dior got 10. Panthers got 8. JCR got 7, right? So the teams around them didn't exactly have a massively bad game. So that kind of, you know, it absorbs some of the positivity behind SegmentX's Miramar game.
Yeah, the points are pretty much almost nulled, right? Like, even if you have a decent, good game, it doesn't matter if another team that's close to you, and when I say another team, there's like 5-6 teams close to you, because that's how tight the points are. If one of them have a decent game, you're just crazy. Those points null each other out. So, I mean, it is competitive as can be right now.
Like, 3 games, genuinely 3 crazy circle finishes, and I'm left asking, what will game 4 give to us? Are we going to go back to normal, or are we going to be improved upon it? Well, you know what? We'll have to wait and find out. We're going to go for a quick break, but join us for the final game of day 3 in a matter of minutes.
OnePlus 8T. This has the 120 hertz, so it is wicked smooth.
15 minutes will get you charged up for a whole day.
And this has a quad camera too. We got a 48, a 16, a 5, and a 2 megapixel. OnePlus 8T. This has the 120 hertz, so it is wicked smooth.
15 minutes will get you charged up for a whole day.
And this has a quad camera too. We got a 48, a 16, a 5, and a 2 megapixel.
I don't really know what to say. This is day 3 of the PMCO Finals in North America 2021 Spring Split, and I really have been flabbergasted by the type of games, the circles we've had. It's brought to you by the wonderful folks over at OnePlus and the OnePlus 8T. And Zute, once again, let's just get straight into the leaderboard because I don't really know what to make of it. It's crazy.
Crazy indeed. The one thing I will say real quick, EFC, they're back in first place. They're like, HQA, we'll let you taste first place just for a little bit, but we'll take it right back. Thank you very much.
And like you did say, PassionFruit have earned their big boy status. They've got their, their badge that says I'm part of the big boy club, so to speak. And I fully agree, but it just doesn't stop being close between the teams from 5th right down to 12th. 20 points is dividing Ace in 12th and Panthers in 5th.
Yeah, 20 points is literally one game. And I don't know what it is, man. Like, I don't know if it's because it's PMCO Finals and this is like the day before the last day. But my God, the circles, it's ridiculous. Like, yeah, I know you guys really want to, do well. But the PUBG gods are just like, you know what? I know you want to do well, but here, have some really weird circles and good luck. That's just what it seems like. And these teams, as much as these circles are causing teams to struggle, man, a lot of these teams are also showing up. Like, we see teams from bottom to top, top to bottom, and then bottom to the top once again. And when I say top, I mean just breaking into the top 8. Because if you make it into the top 8, you may as well be in the top, right? And it is a constant struggle back and forth for everybody right now.
Like, if there's one thing I would like to say, because sometimes I don't think it gets said enough, especially from a caster point of view, and I definitely think you can relate with me on it, being a player and a former player. I respect these teams and these players so much because the pressure they're under, game in, game out, to keep up the high standard, to continue with the high standard, to improve with those circle shifts is massive. Like, we stand on our throne, so to speak, of overlooking these teams. We have the glorious view of the fact that we know where all these teams are, but the pressure that they're under, that every single second counts, every single minute counts, it is a lot. And really, credit and respect to all of these teams and all of these players.
Yeah, I think a moment in the last game that perfectly encapsulates what you're trying to say is on that northern wall side, right? We saw M19 almost go out. They finished that fight with that team on the northern side. I think it was Punjab, I may be mistaken, but then we support Farmers. Warning 6, okay, but then we support Farmers wrap on top of them next to the wall, and now put yourselves in M19's position. They know they need good games. They just clutched that fight up, and then out of nowhere, you're being flanked next to the wall on Miramar, and the disappointment, the panic, the emotions that run through in that very moment as you're trying to reset your team, as you're just trying to get into the next circle. You think you're in the all clear because you killed the one team on the very northern edge, and another one comes around. Like, it's just the feeling that these teams are going through, like the roller coaster. Me as a player, I know what it's like. And you're
Yeah.
absolutely right, Imperium. We need to give credit to these teams because they are really going through a lot right now, trying to play these games out and trying to put on a show for us.
For all the respect, for all the credit we can give to them, the journey isn't over. There's still one more game to go today and 4 more games tomorrow. So, hey, the chances are there, the opportunities are there. You just got to keep fighting. For the final game in Erangel, I don't think I've already asked you this too many times. What kind of circle shift, what kind of circle finish would you like to see?
The only thing we're missing right now would be like a Kameshki finish. And speaking about Kameshki finish, the plane path is right over the top of Stolber, cutting in from the north side, diagonally down to the left. It does cut in a little bit deep, so it kind of helps teams out more towards the southwestern side. But this is a little bit of a skewed plane path. Oh, it's not that bad. I thought it was starting from like right over the tip of Stolber with the way that looked.
Yeah.
But it's starting over Severny. So better than I thought. As far as circle ending goes, I mean, the only thing we're missing right now would be a Mount Everest finish where it literally centers onto Mount Everest in the final few circles. A Stolber finish and a Jarky finish. I think we've seen almost like
you mean
everything
Zarky
else. Yeah, Zarky. We finished. We've seen everything else that crazy circles can do. At this point.
No. You know what we haven't seen? You know what we haven't seen? You know what finish we haven't seen, Zute? Wait.
Tell me. Okay. You're hoping for it.
Pochinki. I want to see a Pochinki circle finish. I want to see 13 teams, 12 teams wilding it in the Pochinki. I don't think we'll see it because this phase 1 is very heavily down the southwest.
Yeah, heavy indeed. This circle, fingers crossed on the first shift, all of that water goes out of play, right? If on the first shift, that majority of water is still in play, it's going to be like a very pure ending, and it might even kind of shift over to the military base, and it's going to be like this first circle alone is already tricky. I would say it's not a nice one by any means.
In JCR are going to be happy with it, to be fair. They're looking pretty good on that split drop around the quarry region. They'll have to react to it pretty well because there is quite swiftly going to be quite a few teams looking to encroach on their space. So as much as a 2-2 drop and a 2-2 split is working out for now, they'll have to think about it moving forward. Dior, as far as I know, they don't normally drop there.
No.
That's different.
It must be circumstance of the plane path. I think one reason why they're doing that is they're first out the plane. Right, because it did start from the north, so maybe they could start looting up earlier on. And here we see, once again, Punjab and Mezexis sharing yaws. Over the course of the games, we've seen some interaction between these two teams where one player might get killed. But in the past few, nothing really happened. They've set kind of their boundaries, so to say. And Mezexis, they're doing great, just, playing for rotation and ignoring this team. So neither team is really going to get into it, and that's pretty standard to see.
Still, Punjab lie down in 16th on only 13 points, unfortunately. I would still love them to end the tournament with one massive result, one massive pop-off game, just to really, give themselves a bit more drive, a bit more confidence coming into preparation for the full split. So I'm going to be rooting for them, even though they're not in a position to get into the top 8 in my eyes. Team Ace, they dropped in Pochinki. They're going to have an easy rotation into the edge of the circle, but they will have to be very careful of teams behind them.
Yeah, a lot of teams are going to come in from the northeastern side to be exact, and some teams might with this circle. I'm looking at the team looting Milta right now, right? they could potentially even cross the military bridge on the east side and swing up through the other bridge just to kind of circumvent, all the clusters of teams on the eastern side. But that could also backfire because right now that bridge on the western side is looking kind of nice for a team to kind of just sit and control too. So
yeah,
I said it in the beginning. This circle is not easy rotations by any means.
and I will add that it can still be a military island finish. Just putting that out there. The possibility is there. I think a good 35, near 40% of that circle is in the military island. So that's definitely a factor in play. SegmentX going for an early rotation from North George down the straight path into this phase 1. I like this from SegmentX. I think it's more beneficial. They pulled off similar quick rotations in Miramar, and above everything worked out for them. So I think maybe even though they're not fully trying to be a center circle team, but maybe gives them a little bit more confidence to control teams around them if they do rotate a bit quicker.
I feel like the more unfamiliar the circle and the more this first circle, definitely a little bit weird, right? I think that actually prompts teams to rotate quicker. Simply due to the fact that they're not sure how it's going to shift, and they're not even sure if the different fights and pathings that they've practiced before will come into play. Because once again, the circle, very peculiar. So they're just going to rotate quick and get to a spot inside the circle that they're comfortable as kind of a starting off point for the rest of the game.
Punjab United, who disengage away from Yasnaya fairly early, but EFC, they dropped in Severny, and yeah, okay, they were one of the first teams to drop, so technically they loot up a bit quicker, but that rotational speed is so much better compared to Punjab United, but it's not over for them. To be fair, they haven't got this fight wrapped up. Shamster, he got a knockdown on the Coops, but has been returned up a spring, disengages away from the buggy to try and take shots onto Oscar and Nimbu. And Oscar might be looking at this going, hey, we just get out of there. If you can join us, Shamster, cool. If not, sorry, mate.
Yeah, EFC running into Punjab, literally running into Punjab. We saw Coops smash his vehicle up against one of the Punjab players and just took a quick 1v1.
Wait.
Won it by nearly 1 HP, but they took the fight and they pick up 2 kills.
My apologies. I thought both teams were rotating on the south side, but I totally forgot that actually Punjab could rotate up north, and they did rotate up north. So it's way more logical that both teams clash on this rotation. So there's no need for me to be so surprised. Sorry about that. But either way, we support farmers. They dropped in around the kind of farm area. So they've been able
Just
to
like
rotate. Oh my lord. See, Monica made that same joke in scrims, and okay, yours was a little bit funnier than hers. Sorry, Monica.
Support
but it does give them
and farm.
Oh, Zute Joko, haha funny, but it does give them a very direct path into the circle. That's what I wanted to say, just a very direct path across the kind of coastline of the mainland, maybe towards the hills of Pachinki.
Oh, PassionFruit and EFC once again at it again, and it looks like EFC actually take down 2 players right out the start, and EFC is just having a field day running into teams. We're just talking about we support farmers having a nice easy rotation in. I think, or not EFC, we support farmers, but as far as EFC goes, I think they're having the perfect kind of rotation they want. The one where they run into multiple teams driving and they just take those scrappy kills because they can and they're good at it.
Phase 2 popped up. It did kind of obviously go away from Military Island, but it's still threatening way more of that coastline towards the mainland, towards our southwest side. Ferry piers in play, the edge of Primorse, the quarry region. So it's not the cleanest of phase 2 shifts.
Yeah, that phase 2 shift, not the cleanest, but it does go centralize up into more of a familiar type of ending for all of these teams.
Fair.
You have that giant field in play that teams have seen over and over again how to utilize those, shacks. Specifically, I think there's like 4 strong key shacks in that field ending that teams can hunker in and use. And then you have the hill on the north, the hill on the south. Pretty standard playing field. No team should be too, confused about how to fight their way in or which positions to take. So it should work out for them.
EFC and PassionFruit. Name a better love story than Twilight, as I pull out the old school meme. Has to be done. I'm a boomer. It's part of my contract when I got old enough to become a boomer. So, sorry, contractual obligations. But EFC, in my eyes, are in their element right now, right? Edge of circle play coming in from the blue. They're feeling pretty damn strong.
Yeah, and it's funny you mentioned they're in their element, right? You pick any other team, you throw them in the edge of circle, you throw them in the blue zone. They're like, what? We don't like this. What is this? This is not good. But you throw EFC in that element, and it's like, oh, perfect. Right where we want to be.
Yeah, it's so true. Just shades of 4 angry men from them, to be fair. And, that's a big compliment in my eyes when you're kind of getting compared to 4 angry men for all the right reasons. HQA rotating quite nicely around the quarry area. It's still risky because they do have relatively a lack of information on this rotation. But in terms of timing, it is early enough in my eyes into phase 2. Blue Zone closing in that they're not getting too caught out. Plus, they're picking up. Nearly getting caught out. Chi Wong luckily able to pick up that drop loot.
Yeah, he definitely got a little bit baited by the crate, but it's HQA, right? They can do whatever they want at this point. So he's going to the crate. It's fine. If he dies, he dies. We're in second place right now. Let's have some fun with it, right? But their positioning, though, nothing funny about it.
It's so good.
That quarry position is really good. They pretty much control that hill that's more central. They could cut right into that hill, and from that hilltop position, they can make their rotations all the way across the east side with really strong sight lines. So good position by them. Syndicate also thinking the same thing, though, controlling that quarry area. So that's the only team they might have to, worry about and run into.
Phase 3 is going to pop up. Drum roll, please. It's going to shift down the southeast. Like I said, Ferry Pier is in play, and that's the case. There's a good 40% water in play, so that instantly eliminates so much landmass available for all of these 16 teams.
Yeah, Team Panthers chilling right now. They started their split loot in that Ferry Pier area, and I said it, with all that water in play, there was a good chance that it will end up in Ferry Pier, because even with a hard shift up north on that first circle, that just puts Ferry Pier in the dead center, right? So it's going to look like a Ferry Pier ending. It might shift a little bit more out of Ferry Pier, but one thing I'm really excited for with this zone is the beach side to the west of Ferry Pier. There's a lot of those, kind of ditches and blown up tanks that is kind of new to this update that we're going to see come into play.
That is so true. That is so true. The hills above Ferry Pier is honestly one of my favorite places in Erangel now because of that. Because a team, when they control that area, when they win from that area, in my opinion, it's one of the most deserving and, well-earned chicken dinners from a team. So we'll have to wait and see if that's going to be the case. But Warning 6 is going to push in on the edge of Ferry Pier. And guess what? The Panthers are gifted multiple free kills. Once again, Warning 6, more so than HQA, really do have an unfortunate issue with rotating kind of cleanly into circles past phase 3.
Yeah, knock knock. Who's there? the Panthers are there. Like, this position is really good. I get why you want this position, but I feel like they rotated in thinking this spot was clear. This is the strong position and Fairy Pier. I would understand if they rotated somewhere else directly straight into Fairy Pier, like a less commonly played one. That would make more sense. But they hit one of the compounds that's literally the focal point of Fairy Pier. So that you should expect a team there, and you shouldn't just drive straight in the way they did.
Plus, even on the coastal line, kind of, but not behind it, but before it, there's a couple of areas that you can stop and get a bit of information, whereas they went in blind. Talk about going in blind. HQA do the same thing onto JCR, but like you said, it's HQA. They do what they want, when they want. They have no bones about it. They're going to push on into vector play. It's not going to work out. Fee, fight, fum. You've just been taken out from the thumb trigger of JCR. Look, is still in play. He hears the shots off AZ. HQA are down to just their solo man AZ. Hunkered inside that building while the revive is being pulled off from Fine. That's going to be a lovely Kobe. Oh no! Unfortunately, it doesn't go through.
And look at the circle shift Imperium. It is on that beach side, so all those like new ditches, the beachheads, you know, the giant X's. I don't even know what you call them.
Yes.
But the blown up tanks, it is coming into play in Fairy Pier on the edge of circle now. And another thing, that long pier sticking out of Fairy Pier, that's actually a really strong position, and I want to see which team is going to recognize that and make use of it, because you can essentially have your back to the water and your flank is completely safe, and you can push your way in the way you want to.
Well, can they actually get there? Because the Panthers are pretty well developed in the Fairy Pier, right? I would fear that a team won't be able to wrap around the coastal line in time, but Dior, who did push in and rotate into that beach side, is going to get caught out by the last player of Punjab United. Unfortunately, Nimbu can't push that, so that revive will be pulled off.
Yeah. Before this game started, we were talking about crazy circle finishes that we haven't seen yet, right? And we did not mention this one. So the PUBG mobile gods literally blessing us with things that we did not even know we could be blessed with. Like, this ending is going to be, and once again, one hell of an ending, and the fights are going to get really, really scrappy here.
See, in the South Africa region, Maxwell and Banks have been having arguments about who holds the button for crazy circles. Whereas me and you were going, hey, it's in the hands of the PUBG mobile gods. This has nothing to do with us. As we support farmers are just pushing in, holding on to that kind of low tanker dip area near the beach line, and decided Dior are going to get punished for. So that's nice. By we support farmers, a little bit of aggression goes a long way.
Yeah, and we see these dips, right? They're all grenade distance of one another, and these dips, there's like 8 of them just scattered within like 100-meter distance. And then we have these shacks and the bunkers too. It is absolute mayhem right now.
Proera push in, they take down Sing from We Support Farmers. It is just that kind of little bit of a tower. I don't even think it's a building, but it's a tiny underground dip. But JCR are aware of that. JCR are definitely going to chuck the grenades towards the members of Proera. There's not too much area around Proera right now. They have chucked out the smokes, but those smokes are going to disperse as We Support Farmers are wiped out of the lobby by Dior.
Yeah, Dior finishing that one up. We saw Dior kind of, being saved by Proera, taking off some pressure from them. But now it's good for them. They wiped out that team because this circle is about to shift once again, and chances are they have to move into the next bunker fields that now is being, stood by Syndicate, and Syndicate have very good spacing. No team's able to use that Fairy Pier, which I am disappointed to see, but with the way teams are set up, it makes a lot of sense why no one can even get there.
Oh my god, next shift, go down south, go down south, go down south, go down south. No, it goes up the northwest. I'm sorry, I couldn't help being a little bit toxic off the back of that one, but it is going to at least give a tiny bit, just a tiny bit of respite to these teams because it's all landmass.
Yeah, it is all landmass. Mezexis, they're gonna fight. Oh, Mezexis getting into a fight with SegmentX. It's a tale as old as time. These two teams going at it on the northern side. The Panthers and Ace and Warning 6 on the south. The Panthers need to keep this, but they need to do it in a fashionable time manner. Because if they get too caught up in this fight, they're not gonna be able to make it into circle themselves.
There's also M19 on the other side that are in some way stopping the Panthers from cleanly pushing into the edge of the circle. I think it's just Skrr that's left for M19, so it's not the biggest stopgap, but it is a stopgap nonetheless. As Peralta with the Uzi on the killer, that's going to be good for the Panthers, being a little bit of a extra player for their side. Grave drop shots it through. That's going to be the end of Warning 6, and very importantly for Team Ace, that revive is going to get pulled off.
Yeah, I feel like he should have just went for that thirst. Like, he heard multiple cars pull up. I get it. You're under that pressure, that adrenaline. It's kicking in. You want to go for that two-piece. But when every point counts and you get that first clean knock, maybe just look for that thirst next time, right? Secure that extra kill point. But the Panthers, that gives them an opening into the next circle. EFC, a solo holding down that shack, and M19 also a solo right now.
Syndicate are doing a great job right now, an absolutely fantastic job, because with the help of JCR, they took down Pro Era. They also just got a knockdown on one of the players of the Panthers, so they have their eyes and blinkers all around this circle, so their awareness is absolutely fantastic coming into Phase 6.
Speaking about coming into Phase 6, it looks like SegmentX has completely stopped Mezexis from going on in the rest of this game, and that's huge for SegmentX because they needed the points. And now SegmentX controls the whole entire northern side of that road, and that is like about 40% of the circle. So really good position. Ace still continuing on their spree onto the Panthers. The Panthers never fully gatekept Ace the way they should have. They prioritized that rotation a little bit too early, and it is biting them in the butt quite literally right now.
And because Syndicate got that initial knockdown, it really threw off Syndicate's kind of game plan, positional strength, and now they're just down to one. Jinx is left on his own. However, Jinx can stay prone down. It could allow the side of Syndicate to maybe push on towards Ace. Although, just as I say that, King A of SegmentX takes down the Panthers, and just like that, we're left with 6 teams and 16 players.
Yeah, 16 players and 6 teams in the circle. Did hard shift to the south. Syndicate looking pretty, and I believe that compound on the west side is out of zone. So it's going to be a meat grinder coming into this zone with Syndicate just taking their pick of which kills to go for.
Team Ace are on 8 kills. They've had a very good killing game. But with 2 players left, it's going to be obviously a bit tougher to grab any extra placement points. XTV, the last player up for EFC, is going to stay inside that tiny little shack, which is outside the circle, but the push is going to come on through with that grenade. Unfortunately, it is a tiny bit overcooked, but Peaceful is waiting while Nomi is going to obviously drive it on through. Oh man, EFC are actually out of the game. I didn't see that he went down, so that does give a tiny bit more space to Team Ace.
Yeah, JCR from distance at that compound actually somehow found a mini headshot onto that shack. And Ace now gatekeeping SegmentX. Both teams not in zone, but I like this. Ace is utilizing the slower circle to hurt and stop SegmentX, so SegmentX can't fully gatekeep them, but it is once again JCR from the compounds that is really raining fire down onto the Ace team.
But I'm a little bit surprised that SegmentX maybe didn't stay on the hills to try to take out Team Ace, because they had seen them along with all the flurry of Team Panther as well. So, you know, maybe that was a bit of a mistake in their eyes. But either way, they are still up as a full squad. So credit where it's due. Peaceful from Team Ace is going to get knocked out and actually killed. So we are left with 4 teams. Syndicate, JCR, Dior, and SegmentX. I cannot believe Dior is still in this game.
Yeah, Dior using that ridgeline and keeping their heads down. Syndicate can honestly maybe get an angle using those bunkers, but if they peek out over the top of the bunker right here, JCR might just fire in on them. So it's kind of like a stalemate situation for now. Syndicate, though, do lose a player. Brain goes down to SegmentX. JCR trades that by getting a knock onto LeveLx, and it's just trades all around. It's a shooting gallery, everything.
Oh yeah, they're all taking each other out. It's kind of like, passing the bucket. It's like, I'll take you out, you take him out, he takes the other person out, and then another person takes me out kind of thing. It's just really going from left to left to right, as Syndicate are going to try and find some kind of position on the southeastern edge of the circle, because it did once again go down the southwest to the point where JCR finally have to move out of their buildings, and SegmentX are left still on 10 kills, but with having to move in to this circle.
Yeah, SegmentX, 10 kills. This is the game they needed, and they're not even done yet. They're 4 players up. They have a good chance to break into this, or at least snake into this. The only issue, though, is Syndicate have that bunker, hard cover in play on the edge of zone. But off of that knock, I think they realize this is their chance to maybe creep a little bit closer. They're down to 3 teams out. Syndicate, JCR, and SegmentX.
Here's the thing, because the area inside the circle is so flat and so open, you might be inside it, but you can't spread out. You can't really control it. Dior are taken out. We're down to our final 3 teams. 10 players up. The snaking of SegmentX could help them lead to their second chicken dinner of the PMCO Finals.
Yeah, LeveLx actually finds a shack in the zone. I know it's hard cover, but it might actually be the death of LeveLx, because when you see a hard cover as an enemy player, that's instant magnet for where to throw your nades. So it can work both ways. It'll protect you from bullets, but not the grenades.
Oh, Issue is gonna put the tissue, the pressure, the pain on the JCR, and then with an arm in his hands, he's not afraid to fire on through, and the SegmentX is gonna breathe a life into their chicken dinner results by helping to clean up JCR. And this is where SegmentX know it's just them against Syndicate. They're gonna push on in. They've got 1 knockdown. They're 4 men strong. They're 13 kills strong. They are going to punch it through. But Issue has a grenade. He connects on the prophecy. Why did they go so far forward but then stop halfway? Go for the full commitment, SegmentX. You've allowed Syndicate to 1 by 1 take you out. Issue with the arm, Issue with the name, but now Lolo finally shuts him down.
Yeah, it's SegmentX. I don't know. They should push this 2v2. A reset doesn't really work out for them, because once again, Syndicate is in kind of the better position, but they'll change it back down to 3v3. Yeah, you were right. They should have hard pressed that earlier when they got that knock and it was a 4v2, but they missed out on that opportunity, and now it is a 3v3. They can still take this if they are the better snakes in this final zone.
Now the smokes are being thrown up by Syndicate. These are kind of defensive smokes that allows them to move a little bit left or right, shimmy their way through while they chuck their grenades towards the members of Syndicate. I think Syndicate, because they've had to push in to a number of these last couple of circles, they're out of utilities, they're out of smokes. The offensive smokes by Syndicate is going to help them to push in on that boogie, and he's going to help to get that knockdown on the LeveLx from Issue to make it a 2v3 in the favor of Syndicate. 12 kills for Syndicate as well. They've had a hell of a game. That's going to be a grenade. That's going to blow up in Kinger's face. It's not going to take him down, though, while Asen is going to get put to the ground. It is going to be SegmentX that claim the chicken dinner in Erangel for the final game of the day.
And just like that, SegmentX go from 11th, and they punch their way up quite firmly into the top 8. Look at the first and second place team in terms of kills. These 2 teams racked up so many kill points. Great finish for the both of them. And JCR sneaking into that 3rd place from that compound. Absolutely wild of a last game today.
JCR have, to be fair, had a great great day today. They got 5 points in game 1, not the best, but they got 6 points in game 2. They got 7 points in game 3, and then they got 17 points in game 4. You know, not the most flashy, the most kind of, hey, look at this, we're here. But when you're talking about kind of consistency and hitting the average, it's being good, because they even started today on a pretty solid note. So they're kind of keeping themselves up there. So credit to themselves as they finished third in this game 3. Team Ace with a 14-point game. I've been waiting for Team Ace to have this kind of performance, to have that kind of aggression, that control, because I'd seen parts of it in scrims, and I know that they were using scrims to push themselves and see how far they could go, but it seemed like they kind of stepped back and laid, you know, back in the finals, or at least at the start, but maybe they're realizing, wait, we do need to perform a little bit more like we did in scrims to really get the results needed to push ourselves into the top 8.
They're definitely getting to that comfort zone, right? And it's not too late yet. They ended it strong, so going into day 4, they can maybe pick up the pace right where they left off.
Exactly.
Yeah. One quick shout out to the Syndicate player that was using the I don't know. I don't know if Issue was using the because he ran out of ammo, or if he was just going for the clips. But there's a chance he ran out of ammo, because they were there at those bunkers for a really long time, and they got almost like every circle. So I wouldn't be surprised if he really shot literally all his shots, and all he had left was the
No, I think he was just going for the clips, as far as I know. But wow, actually, maybe you're right. That's interesting. But sure, I'd imagine that one of his teammates would have had some ammo, right? You know, ammo. He got knocked down. Yeah, so that's an interesting point you bring up. So, you know, I might actually ask him and just get in touch to see what the case was in the final moments of that last game. But let's have a look at the overall standings. Let's just, you know, get into the thick of how these teams are looking, because after that game 4, it is definitely shaking up the top 8. SegmentX have moved up to 5th. It's about time. I'm sorry, but it is about time SegmentX started performing.
SegmentX, it's the game they needed. And when you're an experienced team, no matter how dire it looks, you can almost count on them to clutch it out. And yeah, they go from not in top 8 up to 5th place with that massive win. And yeah, it was looking a little bit shaky. And honestly, I question them going for that reset. I think that reset was definitely the play.
Yeah.
I get you. It was completely wrong of me to think they should have pressed that 2v2, because once that zone started closing once again, it was a just snake zone. So they could go for that reset. It didn't matter if Syndicate had the hard cover, because it was no longer in play once that circle shifted.
It is still close between kind of, you know, 5th, 6th, and 7th. Then a 10-point difference between 7th and 8th. But then it is still relatively close between 8th, 9th, 10th, and 11th, and even 12th. So I will say that as we get into our final 4 games, if SegmentX can keep it up, that there is going to be potentially less spots available in the top 8. Because obviously PassionFruit, there's still a chance they could drop out because of SegmentX's performance, right? They're only, you know, 23 points ahead of 8th. You know, from what we've seen today, I'm just saying.
Anything could happen. Absolutely. The teams I'm looking at, though, is all the teams not in the top 8 up to even M19. We have 4 more games left. 4 games is a lot considering how small the point spread is. So Dior, we support Farmers, Team Ace, Pro Era, Warning 6, M19. They still have a chance. And even LeveLx has a chance. It is definitely looking way more dire for them. But it's coming into the last day. 4 games left. anything can happen. And when I say anything can happen, that includes where the zones head to, because today, back to back, 4 games in a row, we have had some insane circles. And I've said insane circles so many times, but the viewers, like, you got to agree with me, man. These circles are actually insane. And I'm not just saying it to hype it up.
Yeah. Yes, the circles have been wilding. The circles have just been wilding. They've thrown us for a loop. They've gone this direction, they've gone that direction, they've ended in this area, they've ended in that area, and wow. Yeah, there's not really much more to say about that. Look, 4 games left, Sute. 4 games left for these teams to secure a position in the top 8. You can see the list of teams. They all got through the group stage. They all deserve to be in the finals. Have to be deserving of the MPL.
Yeah, and before we go, let's really just talk about what's coming up next. PMPL. This is what the teams are fighting for. Once you make it into PMPL, there is so many more games to be played. If the PMPL format is anything like last year, you get so much practice and recognition and learning just to make it into that PMPL. And if you fall a couple points short after tomorrow, the opportunity, the chances, the glory, the chances to go against teams like the X Tempo Storm team, the Execute team, the 19E team, it all flies straight out the door if you don't make it. And when I say you, I'm saying some of the teams here, you will not make it by a few points. And that is going to be one of the most disheartening feelings. So remember that. And when you come in tomorrow, just let that really fuel the fire and have a hell of a day and close it out and punch your way up into the top 8. Because this top 8 is honestly, this top 8 might even be more of an accomplishment than going into PMGC. And why am I saying that? Because to make it into PMGC, that's a hell of a shot. Okay? Like anybody going into PMGC, it's like, it was not easy. We had a little bit of luck and we did it. Correct? But this is fully in your control. It's not like top 3 out of 12 games. It is top 8 and you need this. So I can't stress this enough going into the last day. These teams are fighting for a lot and there is a huge fight to be had right now.
Tick tock, tick tock. It's counting down. What a way to end the day. Thank you to everybody for tuning in. Thank you to our wonderful sponsors, OnePlus and the OnePlus AT. Join us tomorrow, same time, same place for day number 4 of the PMCO North America Spring Split Finals. Have a great evening. Have a great night. Stay safe. See you guys tomorrow.
OnePlus 8T. This has the 120 hertz, so it is wicked smooth.
15 minutes will get you charged up for a whole day.
And this has a quad camera too. We got a 48, a 16, a 5, and a 2 megapixel